Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our second day of Washington County Local Share Account Public Briefings. We're really happy to see you this morning, and thank you for your participation and interest in the program. This year, the Washington County Commissioners have committed $8 million to this program to be recommended to them through this process. And we want to first thank our committee members for being with us. They are all volunteers. I know you have day jobs, but we certainly appreciate all the time you guys spent reviewing these projects. And also to you, we appreciate you being with us and for your interest in the process as well. Our first project this morning is P29, the bus maintenance and storage facility with the Washington County Transportation Authority, Freedom Transit. I think I see Sheila Gambino with us this morning, and that is P29 for the reference. Please note that these proceedings are also live streamed. Welcome to everyone watching on the internet. Sheila, good morning. Please take a moment to introduce yourself.
Good morning. I am Sheila Gambino. I am the Executive Director of the Washington County Transportation Authority, also known as Freedom Transit.
It's good to see you. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please start.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for the opportunity to present this project. The Washington County Transportation Authority is seeking LSA funds to cover the local match required for federal and state dollars to begin construction of an 88,000 square foot bus maintenance and storage facility. Our current facilities are not adequate to safely maintain and store our vehicles. We're seeking to build a new facility that will allow us to facilitate growth and ensure long-term sustainability of our services. We recently closed on the purchase of the Tower Golf property on Berry Road in South Champaign Township to construct this facility. The estimated cost of construction is $40 million with an $8 million contingency. We anticipate a total of 533 jobs to be created for this project, and we're seeking $297 million to match $12.9 million in federal and state dollars. I do have a copy of the preliminary design that I can distribute if you'd like. We will begin working on final design in the next few weeks, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Just to clarify, you're requesting $297,000, not $297 million.
Thank you. Sorry.
One impactful project.
Yes, it would be, yes.
You have a very significant match of $12 million. So could you just give us just slightly where that's coming from and what the sources are?
So the predominant source is going to be state funding at this stage, and then we also have federal funding that is available. As the project phases forward, probably the more significant portion will be federal dollars, and there still will be a good portion of state PennDOT money.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee?
What's the time?
So total timing of the funding or timing of the funding would be, we have the monies available right now that are committed for this first phase. We'll be seeking the funding to get us through 2025. So
There are 3 phases.
the first phase has already been completed, but yes, that's the purchase of this is technically the second phase. Yep.
Any questions? I'm being heard. Sheila, thank you for your time today.
Can I leave you with copies of?
Please.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Actually, Sheila, if you want to leave them with Caroline back there. Thank you. Next project is C8, the Canonsburg Facade Improvement Grant Program. Good morning. That is C8. Lisa, please take a moment to introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Lisa Scarmese, Director of Economic Development for the Borough of Canonsburg.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I am here today on behalf of our borough seeking funds to continue our grant facade program to phase 2. Phase 1 was a huge success. All the monies had been applied for and allocated, and new windows and fresh paint now grace the streets of our downtown area. With that came not only new facades in our program and in our streets, but I believe what this did for our town was the spark to the start of the revitalization that's happening now in town. We've had an increased interest in buildings for sale in town. 2 of the buildings were sold due to this incentive of the grant program, which now are renovated and house 2 new tenants. And with that came the interest in the purchase of 2 other buildings in town, increased traffic, which has increased our revenues for our merchants and also the borough itself. And it's just created a buzz in town. So what we'd like to do is continue this revitalization in town and present phase 2. We have enlarged the area that will be applicable, and I visited with all the business owners and building owners in that area to discuss the program and gain their interest. We now have letters of intent for 12 of those folks, and many are those that have missed out on phase one. So we have done a lot of great things in Canonsburg over the past 2 years, and we're moving forward, but we have a lot more to do, and these funds will help provide that for us.
So you have a waiting list for this?
We do.
And it's a one-to-one match?
It is,
correct?
yes.
Okay. Any other questions? They must be in a good mood this morning. Let you off easy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. Thanks for your good work.
Thank you.
Cole Center Borough Park, C12 is our next project. Not here yet, right? Skip that. River Access Improvement National Heritage Board. I see Sarah Collier with us. Good morning, Sarah. Project C29. Sarah, please take a moment and introduce yourself.
Good morning, I'm Sarah Collier. I'm the Executive Director of the National Road Heritage Corridor, one of the 12 heritage areas through a program of the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. In addition to that, as part of our purview, we are the managers of the Monongahela River Park. I'm requesting funds from the LSA committee to offer grants to municipalities within Washington County that front the Monongahela River to improve their riverfront access points from a river-facing standpoint. A couple of things are happening in the coming, let's say, 18 months. The National Road is pursuing designation, official state designation for the Middle Monongahela Water Trail, which on every externally facing map will close this gap here. Right now, it looks like you can paddle to Fredericktown and then you better turn around, or you're just going to fall off a cliff and you can pick up again right about Elizabeth El Reyna. So closing this is going to be really helpful. It's going to allow paddlers to go from West Virginia to Kentucky, really, by river. The other important thing that will be happening, I believe, in 2024 is the Corps of Engineers will be taking out the dam at Elizabeth. That is going to open up a significant stretch of the river for paddlers, and it's a nice, flat, easy paddle. They'll be able to go from about Braddock to Charleroi without having to navigate the lock system, which some folks do find intimidating. Thinking about that and thinking about the increased opportunity for tourism, recreational-based economic revenue, I would like the county to support some improvements to the existing docks. This is the launch at New Eagle. It is certainly not the worst. It's not the best, but it is pretty, it's a good example of what we're looking at when you're coming to the river. And so with an investment of $20,000 with LSA funds matched with new access development funds or fish and boat grants or things like that, we can create a new system with a mind to both the visitor experience, to the ecological and stormwater management nods, and the capability of the maintenance of the municipalities. So we've replaced the dock we've replaced the lumber with a composite so that it doesn't need to be repaired as often. We've built a new shoreline because part of the dam coming out will be a little bit of elevation of the river level. So we've planted native plantings and we've resurfaced the boat launch just to make it more appealing and accessible. I think of this very similarly to a facade program. If you are paddling to a new area, this is your first introduction to a community. And if it is not welcoming, then you are probably going to be less inclined to venture beyond the parking lot and go into the town's property.
Thank you. Questions?
Sarah, are you looking to distribute grants to the municipalities to do that work, or is your organization looking to receive the grants to do that?
We are looking to partner with the municipalities because they are almost all owned by the municipalities. We will be working to cover the design and engineering costs for these projects based on community desire and just making sure we have some best practices lined up. We would also assist them in applying for matching or using it to leverage for additional.
Any improved products and remains the municipality's property?
Yes, and we would ask them to sign a lease, a maintenance lease or agreement for 10 years.
The 15,000 given to the applicants? In other words, the LSA is coming to you and then you're going to distribute it to the applicants
Yes, and we will assist them in managing the process.
for 10 years? Will be under a 10-year contract?
They would be under a maintenance contract for the 10 years. We don't want to just improve something and then have it be left for the weekend.
Have you spoken with municipalities concerning their interest in?
We have had some early interest from a couple of municipalities. I think they wanted to know that this was something that could really happen before they got too excited about it. But I think if we're offering to provide the design guidance and the expertise to get through the projects, it would be silly not to take advantage of it.
Any other questions?
And your matches?
Yes, actually, as of yesterday. Yesterday afternoon,
All right.
matches
December
secured.
26th, yeah, I have that on that.
Yes, so that was a good one.
Any other questions? Sarah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a wonderful weekend. Always Be Smiling Activity and Learning Center, C2. Have our friends from Cole Center showed up yet, or? No? Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Please take a moment and introduce yourselves.
So I'm Kristen Ubrex. I'm the Executive Director for Always Be Smiling.
And Dean Rex, the president for
Good morning. You start when you're ready.
Yeah, so I wanted to give just a little bit of background on Always Be Smiling really quick. I know it's probably new to a few of you sitting here. So we're a nonprofit and we're really here to help enhance the lives of people with disabilities and health challenges. We're a nonprofit that started we're in our third year, so 2.5 years ago. And it was in honor of our son who passed away 2.5 years ago in July of 2020. He had multiple disabilities and health challenges. And so Dean and I know the life of living with a child with disabilities, that there isn't a lot of programming and activities and recreational opportunities available for families and kids with disabilities. So when Bennett passed away, we chose to start this nonprofit because we wanted to make it a better place for all these people with disabilities and enhance their life. So that's why we started Always Be Smiling. Bennett had a lot of diversity and adversity in his life, but through all of that, he always smiled. And that's why we came up with Always Be Smiling. And our mission is to create smiles for children, teens, and young adults with disabilities and health challenges. We're super excited. The momentum is completely taken off. Right now, we're out at the Tandem Connection, but we're moving our activity center and our thought of the activity center at Valley Brook Road. Tom Robinson has donated a 100-year lease to us. So we're going to be moving over our first phase, which we got a tourism grant to start the recreational barn where we can start enhancing our programming. But through this LSA grant, we're requesting the next phase of our project, and that is to build an activity center. And I'm going to let Dean talk about the activity center and what our hopes and plans are for that.
Yeah, so this is obviously located on the Montour Trail. It's land currently that is undeveloped. It used to be used for just parking cars and vehicles at. So what we're excited about, and you guys have kind of renderings of it, in the activity center, it'll be community-based for all of the participants and their families, as well as the ability for the community to interact. We'd be doing kind of a PE trailside cafe, so there'd be life skills program, and the greater community of Peters Township, Washington County, being able to come and interact and with our program. The other thing that's adjacent to our activity and learning center is the addition of 75 parking spaces, or actually I think a little more than that, for public use and public access to the Montour Trail. And as we know, that's a premium. So this building is going to be a little over 3,100 square foot. It will have horticulture, various activities, fully accessible bathrooms. Right now, that's really a premium, and it's a unique place in the community that currently is not available to people with disabilities and special needs. Yeah. We live that life. Go into a handicap porta-john when you're in a wheelchair. That's not accessibility. So this would really be, I think, a great thing that's unique in Washington County and on a great asset, which is our legal one. So that's all.
Thank you. Questions from the committee?
Kristen being first, sort of, I watched your video, it's very well done. So I'm familiar with that property. Tom has it locked in, so you're gonna come, there's gonna be an access road?
Great question. He has that gate that'll be open for public access.
For the Montour Trail?
Correct. Yep.
So he's gonna keep it open from like 7 in the morning till 7 at night. It'll have a timer on it, and then it'll shut down once it starts getting dark out.
And then the match, where is that match coming from?
So right now, the match will be, we have 2 strong fundraisers that we are doing this year that deliver over $200,000 in profits. We have a healthy bank account, and we're currently grant writing. We have a partner that is waiting for us to get a permit for Peters Township. We just submitted the planning documents for the site plan. So once we get that approved, then we'll apply for a permit, and then we have a great partner in one of the foundations, and then we also have some private investors.
Following up on this question, is the $1.5 million secure? You have that in hand?
We don't currently, to this date, we do not have it in hand, but we have it mapped out on how we're going to get there with the grants and private donations. And also, we've sat down with the bank, CFS, and they're willing to help us if we don't get completely that total amount of the 1.5 to help bridge us in that gap.
Thank you.
If you had to guess, what would your secured funding? It's not 1.5. Is there any that you do have secured?
We probably have, I would say, around probably 400,000 secured right now.
And you requested 338,000.
Correct.
There's only the requests we have are way more than what we have to give out. So we always ask the question about partial funding. So with partial funding, are you still able to proceed with the project?
Yeah.
Maybe scale it or phase it?
Absolutely. So we're in that phasing. So the first phase, we want to get the envelope phase done. And we feel once you start getting that momentum on the trail and you start getting that first phase in, we have sat down with a lot of contractors, and a lot of people want to donate their services. We have HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and we really feel that a building like this can be phased out, and the momentum will start once we get that envelope phase, which we have that secured funding to start building that.
Any other questions? We appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you for your interest. Thank you. Great day. Thanks. Building capacity in the Washington County food pantries, P28, Greater Pittsburgh Community Clinic. Good morning. Let's take a moment to get settled. Introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Mickey Held. I'm the Director of Grants and Foundation Relations with Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank. And I'm Joyce Turner.
Good morning. Please start.
So we are seeking funding from the Redevelopment Authority of the County of Washington, LSA, to support capacity building in our pantries in Washington County to be able to support food distribution to the families in Washington County. And that is, sorry.
Take your time.
In addition to, I look at it as almost operational in nature. So I'm currently working with about 26 agencies throughout, and we serve approximately 23,000 individuals. So those are people throughout your county who are in some way food insecure. And most of these families have a monthly distribution, and it's not quite covering the needs of most of these families. $1 used to take us to maybe providing 5 meals a couple of years ago. Now $1 stretches to provide 3.
So I get direct feedback from a lot of the agencies saying that they know that 2023 and on into this uncertain future of food prices, of where it's going to place them. And so some of the project is really talking to them about some of their current operations. And then when Nikki addressed expanding capacity, that means looking at the models as they are now. And these pantries, obviously, and even some of the distributions that we do, say for example, at fairgrounds, people have to drive there. And so many of the folks who need this food don't have transportation. So we are definitely thinking on the box. And I know at our location in Duquesne today, we've had a lot of cool ideas around just different ways to address that. So this project, and I think this one that will address some completely different ways to operate for some of our
Questions? In your application, you have $70,000 to be awarded to impact grants. Can you please explain those and what is the process for awarding those grants?
Sure. So our impact grants are grants that we award directly to our agency partners. And there is an application that our partners fill out where they explain what it is that they want to do and what the outcome of that would be. What is effective about this is that we're able to award that money immediately to the agencies and they can move forward with their projects without having to go through a 3 to 6 month process if they were to seek funding from a foundation partner or something like that. And that's because as the food bank, we have the ability to do the fundraising on our own and build that fund up so that the funds are available. And we have that sort of on hand for them. And these range from like maybe a $500 request for some supplies to something that's like a $25,000 cooler, walk-in cooler so that they can have milk and fresh produce. And so this really changes their capacity in a number of ways. So sometimes we had an agency that really just needed like tents so that they could do outside distributions in the rain. And that made a huge difference because they were before only doing like once a month, like the regular once a month sort of distribution where people came and like would come in one at a time and pick up food. And then suddenly they were able to do this big outside thing where hundreds of people could come at once. And it was just like needing tents so that they could set up a whole bunch of food at one time.
Do you have those guidelines? Do you have those guidelines outlined? My question is
Yeah,
that
we do.
what you're requesting is for the county to provide you with the ability to make grants, but we have to ensure that your grants would be going to something that is eligible under our program guidelines.
Right. We do have guidelines for those. They are outlined on our website. I don't have those available with me right now.
Sure.
A little bit share to show, like it's in the back office function of that. So on their actual, they have currently the state food program and the food bank program. And that basically gives them, when they go on to order food, free options, depending upon what source of funding is offsetting those costs. So this would be in addition to that. And it is definitely earmarked like with the code, like on the invoice, so that funding comes from that particular source. We're very strict about, obviously, whether it's even a donation, it's a private donation, and it's earmarked for Washington County. There's a code for that. So that money goes only to Washington County as per that donor's request. So that the penny by penny through the grants and whatnot follow wherever it is designated and whatever the grant is outlined. Very much.
Thank you. Any other questions? We appreciate your time this morning. Thank you for your good work.
Thank you.
The Denora Branding Revitalization Initiative, Denora Borough, P32.
morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good committee.
Please take a moment to introduce yourselves.
My name is Don Spelka. I'm the mayor of Denora. This is Greg. He's a professor at Penn West.
For 20 years, and worked with that for a while, and corresponded with him, and we're putting together a program, community themselves, ways to revitalize the community. So there's a couple parts to it.
Please, yourself.
Hi, I'm Deanne Paddock, the mayor's wife.
Good morning.
Nice to meet everybody.
Good morning. Please proceed.
Now, a little bit of confusion here. We have two grant applications in. One is for the demolition project on McCain Avenue, and the other one is for the branding.
Which one would you like to start with first?
I'm going to start with the LSA grant application for Denora McCain Avenue demolition project.
Okay. For the committee's reference, that is C25.
So we submitted two 2023 grant applications for funding for a demolition project on McCain Avenue in Denora's Central Business District. The borough is requesting $450,000 in LSA grant funds to jumpstart the demolition phase of a much-needed revitalization project in our downtown. The borough, with the assistance of Mon Valley Alliance, has completed a blight inventory of the borough and has identified a prioritized two commercial structures to initiate the project. The borough engaged BJC Enterprises, a commercial demolition contractor with experience in Washington County. And they provided a cost estimate in the amount of $500,000 for the first two large commercial structures to be demolished. The Denora Borough has committed $50,000 in matching funds for this initial project phase. In addition to the cash match from the borough, we have received a Keystone grant for demolition and have committed federal community development block grant funds for future phases of demolition in our central business district. In anticipation that total demolition costs in our central business district will exceed $1 million, and that the project will be completed with a phased approach over several years. We acknowledge that the application contains a large request, but an award of funds for this much needed project would be a worthy investment to kickstart redevelopment in one of Washington County's most important communities. Denora Borough Code Enforcement has generated the necessary paperwork to condemn the properties and proceed with the project immediately once grant funds are available. We are greatly thankful to you for your time and consideration for this LSA grant request.
Thank you, Mayor. Any questions on this particular project? Please. Good morning.
I do know that in the past, Denora has been amazing using their street crews and things to cut the cost dramatically, actually, by turning into fractions of what it would normally cost otherwise. Are you going to be utilizing any of the help from your street crews with those? Or are they going to be helping to reduce the cost of any kind of demolition or cleanup afterwards?
I don't think that the street crew is capable of the massive buildings that need to be torn down. Now, yes, if there's anything that they can do, they will do. But at this time, I mean, the two buildings that we're talking about, they actually have two addresses, so they're huge. We're in the process now of getting control of them. The Keystone grant was actually for $450,000, but because we didn't have control of
those other two properties, we had to scale it down to just the one building.
Additional thoughts?
Now, for the brand, could I go to the branding?
Yep, we're going to go back now to the P32, which is the Donora branding revitalization.
Okay, I'd like to turn it over to Greg. He's the professor at Penn West. Now, he brought this before us about 2 months ago, and it's starting to take off with some interest. So I'd like to turn it over to him if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been in the Montgomery for so long, more certainly you're in my heart, and we've done projects with them in the past with the Smog Museum, the 60s, and so we're using now it's the 75th anniversary, so we're using that as an opportunity to take on a great strategy program, and as the Nora year after year, just this is more and more run down, and we need to go as fast as we can. And so we're enlisting in things professionals as we can, self conservation, and we can volunteering, of course, put together a brand for the entire town, of course, small museum, and launch it through the 70th rate, and it's proven now's the time. And also, the book can be more serious and so the opportunity to go and miss it.
I'd just like to add to that. I was told that the city of McKeesport has been trying to do a branding of their own to change their image, and that it has cost them thousands of dollars to bring in somebody like these gentlemen here to do this work. So,
Is this to implement, or is this to research what, market studies, things of that nature?
Oh, it's ongoing. I was thinking at this point we've done so much, we've done a lot of research. Long thing, but things we're doing. The brand is really close. And of course we're looking at case studies from the country and even things we've seen in other countries and see what's the most efficient way to utilize the resources that we have to grow as much as possible. So the funds that we put together, there's so many steps. Right? And, but when we take away these services, advertising, and so we have everybody together, we put together a grant, and we wouldn't be here if we were confident. And that's part of the.
Here's a tough question. We have $8 million to recommend to the county commissioners. We have over $25 million in requests. Nora has 2 proposals. Which one is your priority?
The demolition project on Delore McCain Avenue.
Okay, fair enough. Any other questions? Any?
But we would like you to. No, we're going to be back.
We understand. We understand. Please, of course.
So yeah, in 2019, they came to Denora and they did an early intervention program for Denora, and then of course COVID hit, and we've been at a standstill for a long time now with COVID, and we're ready to keep up with Washington County's beautification programs in other areas, and we want to be aligned with them. So as far as Denora is concerned, like I said, I work at KU Penn West, and with the help of professors Spence Norman, who's not here, he's from London. It's holds dear to his heart because him being from London and experiencing smog in London, and Greg has close ties to Denora also. They have chosen Denora as a platform to work with as their project. and are committing their time to this and want to help us reface it to give it a new look and brand Denora so that we can start attracting new businesses and people to our community, along with cleaning up the community with the demolition program. We just can't leave it a blanket space. We have to beautify our downtown area to attract new businesses and new people, to make it a place where people can come and live and work and make it a better place for everybody in the community. So with the both, they go hand in hand. So asking for one without asking for the other one would be hard, not to get something to help move forward the community. We've waited a long time for beautification for Denora since the smog hit in 1930, and this is the 75th anniversary. So along with this project of cleaning up our downtown area, we want to invite people for tourism and attract new people to come to town and have something to show that we're not stagnant and staying, in the smog era, that we're moving forward, and we need this money to make that happen for both projects.
Thank you. You guys are running a little over. Please, go ahead.
With the smog that happened, and this is not just local news. This is stuff that's national and international news. And we're looking at not just in Mon Valley, state, make as far as we had everybody covered from Washington County. So we really see.
Did you find any money elsewhere to come in as a match for this project? Or did you apply to any other LSA? I'm looking at the
We have others.
branding.
We have others. We haven't, we started probably in July
You're the
talking
first,
about
I
this.
think.
Yes, you're our first, but we do plan on reaching out to other entities also. Whenever there's available, we're just working together to do whatever we can to help, keep more.
Thank you for your time this morning.
Okay, thank you very much,
Have a
committee.
good day. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Homeownership Center of Washington County, blueprints, P37 for the committee's reference. Good morning. Morning. How are you?
Fabulous. How are you?
Fine. Please take a moment to get settled. You introduce yourself and your 3 minutes to start out.
Good morning. I'm Jeff Fondelier, VP of Operations for Blue.
I'm Jessica Jack Banks. I'm the director of Blueprints and Homeownership Center. It's my favorite project.
And yours too.
Please proceed.
So we appreciate this opportunity to come before you this morning. We are requesting $100,000 in local share funds to continue our work to help Washington County citizens become and remain homeowners and thus taxpayers. Your support of our homeownership center throughout the past 9 years has resulted in Blueprints assisting 1,025 families to purchase a home to avoid foreclosure. Your investment in Blueprints has resulted in the purchase of 350 homes by Washington County citizens. 102 of these homes have been purchased during the pandemic. Also, this past year, the average home purchase price made possible by our homeownership center is $115,000. To date, the homeownership center has generated $35.7 million in new mortgage loans. We've also mitigated a total of 675 mortgage foreclosures, and we've launched the Pennsylvania Homeowner Assistance Fund, where residents financially impacted by the pandemic can access $50,000 to help with housing cost arrearages. The handout we've prepared for you features the story of the Smith family, a household comprised of 2 adults and 5 children, all financially impacted by the effects of COVID-19. Our homeownership center mitigated the Smith foreclosure and assisted them with securing $23,000 in mortgage assistance from the PA Homeowner Assistance Fund. With continued local share support, Blueprints expects to achieve the following outcomes. 40 residents will purchase or build their first home. resulting in $4.1 million in new mortgage loans. At least 75 homeowners facing foreclosure will be assisted to ensure they remain homeowners in Pennsylvania, Washington County. And 250 people will gain financial management skills and improve their credit scores through our financial literacy classes, group workshops, and individual coaching sessions. We appreciate your time, attention, and continued support of our work. It is critical to us having the ability to adjust our focus as needed to meet the needs of our community.
Thank you. Any questions?
Jeff, I'm obviously familiar with your work. Is this just about scope? Like you're going to do the program no matter what? This allows you to expand it beyond what you were capable of your own.
That's accurate. That's very accurate. We have a blend of funding for our homeownership center. So we have local, state, and federal funds that allow us to do it.
Additional questions? Thank you for your time. Thank you. Wonderful day.
Appreciate it.
Centerville Borough Police Vehicle Safety and Security, C27. Yeah. Is Cole Center checked in yet? Okay, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? Good to see you. Yeah, we're doing well. Good to see you.
Good.
Please take a moment. All right, go ahead. Go. Okay.
I'm Cheryl.
Keep it rolling.
I'm the Centerville Borough Treasurer. With me today is Susan Hadley, a longtime council member and recently elected Borough Council President, and Carrie Contract. Wrong backwards. Sorry. Carrie Contract, newly appointed Borough Secretary. I want to start off by saying our project's not shovel ready. It's actually screwdriver drill ready since there's no excavation required. It's going to be built on the existing municipal parking lot. The project is to construct a metal building to securely house the borough police vehicles. The project came about when the borough appointed Mr. Tom Baer last June to fill a vacant council seat. One of the first questions he asked me, with his background as a maintenance at One Valley Hospital, was why $100,000 worth of new police vehicles and equipment was sitting outside. Although the municipal building has a large garage area, the borough's road department takes up most of it with the dump trucks and plows and pavers and rollers. Since each time the police vehicle is going to be parked overnight and at the end of the shift, all the equipment that's in it, including there's rifles and shotguns and laptops, cell phones, has to be brought in the building because the parking lot is not secure. It has cameras on it, but it's not a secure facility. Building this structure is going to be a single floor with 4 standard garage bays, doors with electric openers, and a man door, which is close to the police offices. Future plans will include adding overhead heaters, but at this time they'll be insulated but unheated. Borough Council has been very generous with the distributions of its American Rescue Plan allotment, with each sewage authority, the water authority, and both volunteer fire departments receiving funding for existing projects or as match funding for their LSA grant applications. We would appreciate any assistance the LSA committee can provide to assist us in eliminating the security and weather problems of existing police vehicles.
Thank you. Any questions?
General, not to you, but how much gas does it take to break in?
You need to desperation for the we have had all 4 tires slashed. So it's
How many vehicles do you currently have?
we have 4 right now. And then we just purchased a 2021 Ford F-150, I believe, for our code enforcement. That was very large vehicle. They also have to park outside.
The only other comment I'd make for safety generally is when people drive by, they know if anybody's on duty. If all the cars are there, they know no one's on duty.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's what I look for. So yeah. Any other questions? None being heard. Thank you very much. Enjoy your day. Mental Health Association of Washington County, the MHS Spring Street Pavilion, C26. Morning. Please introduce yourselves and your 3 minutes will start after.
Okay, I'm David Jenko, the Executive Director of the Mental Health Association.
And I'm Kelly Halinga. I'm the Assistant Director of our Long-Term Structured Residence.
Good morning.
Morning.
Please start.
Well, thank you for taking time to listen to us. The Mental Health Association of Washington County is an advocacy agency. We pride ourselves in advocating for folks with mental illness. Everybody knows somebody who suffers with a mental illness. Our programs, our enhanced personal care home and our long-term structured residence, are specifically in place for folks who have mental illness that require more intensive services than the norm. The Bentleyville location is where our enhanced personal care home and our long-term structured residence have both are housed. One of the key things that we work on with our folks is reintegration into the community, as well as building skills necessary to be productive members of the community. We are the only long-term structured residence and the only enhanced personal care home in Washington County. So our program is very well needed. We are never empty. And there's a waiting list oftentimes for some of our programs. So it is definitely a necessary program, and we pride ourselves in helping folks when they are discharged to go back into the community and be people that are going to contribute back into society, Washington County, their homes, their families, businesses. What we're asking for is $67,500 to build a pavilion. That pavilion on property would offer many, many things that most people don't think about. First thing it's going to offer us is the ability to actually integrate the community and families back into with our folks. We can host family gatherings. Family can have special events for their loved ones who are residents of our programs. We can have celebrations when someone discharges from the program. We are lucky that we do have community support. Bentleyville is a small community, but they are really, really wonderful to our programs. But we're limited. We're limited in how they can come into us. We can offer fire safety education for our residents. We can bring in a lot of those types of things. And it again teaches them a safe place to learn the skills that we're talking about going into the community. Some of our folks have mobility and physical issues where they can't get into the community without getting into a car and it's too physically debilitating, or maybe they're too psychiatrically ill that it won't work for them. We can put into place using this pavilion to mock up societal situations. What's it going to be like going to a grocery store? What do I do if I go to a bank? How do I interact if I'm in a group of people? What do I do? Those sound like very simple skills, but those are things that we've always learned, and we don't really think about that stuff. That is a key piece, in addition to helping them become mentally stable with their psychiatric illness, that helps them do exactly what we want them to do, become productive members of society. And they don't know that they don't know what they don't know. I know that sounds redundant, but it's true.
You are slightly going over.
Okay, so that was really it. We hope that you consider us with the LSA grants, and we appreciate your time.
Question for you. The property that you want to place the building on with structure, do you own that?
We do. The property was donated generously from Atlas Corporation in 2021. So yes, we do have the property.
And you have the engineering done on the structure?
We have, what do you mean by engineering?
In terms of grading, is the site prepared, prep, ready to go?
No, that's all included in the grant. All that will be done with the grant.
Okay, thank you. Other questions?
Yeah.
Are you basing this project on a model from elsewhere, or is this something that you've thought of?
You've been building the pavilion itself, or the
just the
reason for it?
situational training and life skills and those sorts of things?
No, that's the traditional model that we use is that's part of the reintegration back into the community. No, we haven't based it on any other model, but it's something that we feel necessary. You know, it's just one of those things that we've thought about having, but we can't particularly afford to do it. Again, we're funded through the county, so we only get so much money. There's just not enough at the end of the year. Typically, most of our services, we don't have enough to make it through.
And honestly, between Dave and I in the residential and mental health setting, we've got, half a century in. So just being experienced with this population and seeing what works and having that bucket list that you like, I wish we could. Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you for your time. Have a great weekend. Denora Volunteer Fire Department, P33, the Denora Fire Boat. Morning, gentlemen. Morning. Please take a moment to introduce yourself. Gordon Anderson, Denora Fire.
Dorian King, also Denora Fire. EMT.
Please start.
Sorry, it's first time. Appreciate you guys taking the time to
Take your time. You all seem to be in a good mood this morning, so take your time.
So again, my name is Dorian. I'm with the Denora Volunteer Fire Department. We're a small fire department based out of Pennsylvania. We offer a lot of services to our community. One that we're here asking for a grant today is related to our swiftwater rescue operations. We are a Type 318 registered in the state of Pennsylvania in the Department of Health. We cover approximately 15 miles of nautical miles of waterway within Denora or around surrounding areas, not including any operations that can be within both Washington County and the rest of Pennsylvania, and at a FEMA level, technically anywhere in the country. We can be deployed anywhere at a moment's notice. We currently operate with 2 inflatable boats. One is 12 foot, one is 10 foot. Currently our setup is 2 boats stacked on 1 trailer. One has a motor attached to it and one does not. So when it comes to our setup, it is relatively complex and a bit dated, both from a personnel safety, just because a lot of equipment to move, and to get it set up and deployed in an emergency situation. In our case, we're asking for a aid with a grant, LSA grant, in relation to purchase a tandem boat trailer, as seen in the picture, and the documentation being passed around. This allows us to have both boats fully deployable, ready to go on the trailer and notice, along with additional lighting and equipment to make the scene safe in our even day-to-day operations.
So we are also a certified dive team for our fire department. So we have operated as a swiftwater rescue team all the way from Duquesne all the way to Ligonier. So boating season for us is it's not, like typical for an average person. So this setup would give us the safety we need for the guys. The one boat on the river, which would be the bottom boat in the brochure, is a 16-foot long, 6-foot wide boat. And you could put 5 people on the gunnels without flipping the boat over. So that would give the safety to pull people out of the water. It's also equipped with an integrated dive platform to assist with divers. Right now, you have to pull divers out of the water, physically pull them onto the boat, risking injury. The trailer itself has a light tower mounted on the front of it, so we can take a boat ramp and make it look like the parking lot. As of right now, you got to use flashlights to try to light it up to make it safe to launch your boats. The $47,000 we're looking for also comes with a second light tower that mounts into the receiver of an additional truck, so we can make the area safer with lights. So we're just looking to upgrade our system, our operations from carrying boats around on AC boat ramps to safely backing in and going to plan.
So can you give us some stats, like in the last 2 years, 1 year, 3 year, how many rescues have you had, how many incidents have you had?
3 years ago, I said, 3 years ago, we had a recovery. When you're talking diving, 99% of the time it's all recovery. So 3 years ago, we went down as a boat operations for a 12-year-old that drowned in Duquesne. 2 years ago, we went to Ligonier for a swiftwater operations. That was everything, and I apologize for not being familiar with the area, but everything up in Ligonier area. We went from Bradenville, helping them, then we got deployed and got pushed to Ligonier. 4 years ago, Mingo Creek, I personally assisted with pulling out like 15 people. I don't have the exact number off the top of my head. Mingo Church that leads into Mingo Park, the trailers on the right. We had cars floating into them. We even had, I can't think of the company off the top of my head, but we had 15 to 20 people there that we rescued out. So it's a low volume call, high intensity though.
I'm not judging, I was just curious from the numbers.
Yeah, you may get one year, you may only have 4 calls. The next year you may have 15 to 20. But you always have to plan for the what if. And like I remember I think it was 2018, we had 6 possible jumpers on the North Medicine Bridge. Thankfully, the police got them before they jumped, but that would have been 6 more bodies we had to go recover.
Is this specifically used in the river?
Wherever the brochure is, the bottom boat, the white boat is river. The top of the rowboat can be river, but the red boat would be specific to swift water operations, which would be flooded areas.
Okay.
The bottom boat is called one boat. That would be strictly river operations.
It says 16.
The white boat that's in the photo, that 16-foot.
I'm looking at the grant. Numbers. It's $12,000 in change. 60
Yes.
60 rescue.
Yes.
Boat. That's the bottom boat?
Yes.
Correct. You already have nothing for the top?
Yes. Correct. Right now, they're on a single trailer, double stacked. We have to ratchet strap them down. So that's
How heavy are they? How many guys does it take?
well, to pick up the motor, it takes me and him to pick the motor up on the one.
So you're looking at about 300 pounds per motor, not including fuel.
Now, the boat itself, yes, the boat itself, 4 people can carry this.
And with this setup, this allows for essentially one person to hold it. Right now, this would be a situation where, now, yeah, 5 people typically to get it set up, going, started, docked, and then getting everyone off the boat. Obviously, volunteer fire departments don't have the staffing that they usually do. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, you might only get 3 people. So it's a situation where it can make something that should be controlled and safe into a very hazardous situation. And we really don't have the luxury of saying, well, that is what it is. So this would allow us to safely operate both from training and providing services.
Thank you, Jim. Any other questions? Any?
Please. In addition to the responses, just to follow on John's question, you have responses. Do you go out during the boating season and patrol on the river to kind of be on call whenever you have the holiday weekends or anything like that?
We don't per se control the boaters, but we will pick a Sunday and let's go train. So we are out there with them.
But to answer your question, we've never been approached. For example, if it was like the 4th of July and the aquatorium, if they requested us to be available to stage in the water, that would be absolutely within our rights.
Other times you're bass fishing from the. Gentlemen, thank you. We appreciate your time and your service. Thank you. Have a good day. Lawrence Sewage Facility Phase 2, Cecil Township Municipal Authority. P16. Thank you. Thank you for being with us, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please take a moment, settle yourself in, and introduce yourselves, and your 3 minutes will start after your introduction.
Okay. My name's Larry Lennon. I'm with Lennon Smith Solar Engineering Consulting Engineering. Thanks for check.
Cecil Township Municipal Authority.
Good morning. Please start.
Okay, so this project is for the Lawrence Sewage Facilities Phase 2 project. The Phase 1 project, which is starting construction this year, it was started in 2015 when DEP approved the 537 plan. That includes a new sewage treatment plant, elimination. So the Village of Lawrence has Wildcat sewer system now, which discharges the surface waters and Chartiers Creek watershed. That's going to eliminate a majority of it, where Phase 2 will take care of the last portion. And then there was an old treatment plant there that serves like an industrial park and some newer housing. That's going to be converted to a lift station. Pretty poor condition. That project's being funded by LSA grant, thank you, and also Penn Best loan, and there's an EPA grant, and also the township and the authority is using their own capital reserve funding to complete that phase one project. And that's starting this year, construction starting this year. So phase two, that was identified as an area that requires grant funding to complete. It's for 22 residents that do not have sewers. They have wildcat sewers also. That would eliminate those in the Chartiers Creek watershed. And would provide capacity for future extensions too, if there is any growth in that area. There is a map in the presentation that shows where the proposed Lawrence service area is. It's red on the right side. In the phase two, you can see the little blue area. It's in the lower area below the railroad tracks, if you're familiar with Lawrence. The green area, that's where the existing Seward area is in that portion of the Cecil system. There's also a future growth area that's identified on that side. In terms of project schedule status, so design's been completed. It is shovel ready. We do have permits in hand, ready to advertise for public bidding once there is funding procured, and they do have all their rights of ways. In terms of project funding and the need for grants, so they did for phase one, they did receive a Penn Best loan. We're in the process of closing on the Penn Best loan, so that debt service is going to get added on to the existing debt services the authority already has. The authority also has a large sewer portion of their system that goes to Canonsburg, Houston. Those rates have been increased. The authority is in the middle of a 5-year rate increase just for their existing debt service. So that's why we respectfully request the grant for $694,000 for phase two to alleviate any future rate increases to make us more cost effective for the residents involved. If there's any questions?
Question I have is, you know, the committee strongly looks at match or leverage for these projects. You're not offering to provide any. Has the township municipal authority considered matching?
Yes, yes, we consider matching.
Oh, are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, basically, any help is, would be greatly appreciated. Like that, again, it's just limited what we can do. So a portion of the project would be paid for, would be wonderful. Like I said, again, the Lawrence is an older community. They're already burdened with the adapting fees and everything else, so it would just be a large burden. So this would help the residents greatly.
But at the time of application, you're committing to match.
No, we asked for 100%, but if a partial award will be.
Thank you.
We proceed.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Any other questions? Jess, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful weekend. West Pike Run Sanitary Sewer Extension. P21. Morning, gentlemen. Morning. How are you? Good. Good. Very well. Thank you. Gentlemen, please take a moment to introduce yourselves.
Kerry Carter, HMT Associates.
Hi, Walter McMahon with West Pike Run Township.
Second.
And West Pike Run Township. Well, first off, thank you very much for your time and your consideration of our project. It's a relatively simple project. You know, there's a lot of complexity being presented here today, but we're a relatively simple project. We're looking for a 1,500-foot sewage line extension off the main line. West Pike Run Township is primarily a rural community with very limited public sewage. The sewage system was developed in the early 1990s, has not been expanded since then. Sewage rates in West Pike Run Township have been constant over the years of $30 per month, and held that line since the day that that service was paid off. So that's helping keep that cost pretty low. Over that time, we have capacity because we've lost housing in that primary area. So the opportunity for West Pike Run Township here is to expand the sewage line up to the municipal building, which is on a Wildcat septic system. In the presentation that I handed out to you, you'll see the developable land and 147 acres that becomes available to public sewage strictly just by gravity flow. There is no more need for a pump station. Then you take a different route with the sewage line off to the right. Everything now has to have pump stations to provide additional sewage to develop. The capacity is well over 100 EDUs at the plant. So, getting to the financial side, relatively inexpensive project of $230,000. Township providing a $30,000 match, and the municipal authority willing to pick up a piece of that if the need arises. It's on along Pike Run Drive, which is a state road, so we have the ability to work with PennDOT, and Kerry has reached out to PennDOT already at this point to provide that additional assistance where we need PennDOT's ability. There is no stream crossing. The stream crossing was already done as part of the original construction back in the early 90s. Very good.
Anybody have any questions?
The question I have, actually two. The first is this, would this open up this back to development?
Yeah.
Renting sewage?
Yeah, there's existing water at the municipal building now. Currently, that's where the water line ends. So everything is up to that point, and everything can be developed behind that with this extension.
Okay.
How many homes will it pick up essentially?
So it'll pick up the township building, but then the development is what we're looking at.
So this is for future.
For future development, correct. Yeah, there's nothing, as stated in the comprehensive plan for the township, there's only, I think, 2 small lines, 2 service areas where the township has sewage availability. And this is the most economical and feasible part to do to expand.
As you can imagine, Commissioners have a lot about $8 million for us to recommend to them. They have $25 million for request. Can this be done with a partial grant?
Yes. The municipal authority has, and I also sit on the municipal authority board, ready to participate if need. They have limited funds because they've kept their sewage rates reasonable, $30 a month. We're seeing nearby municipalities of West Brownsville, 55, California, 42. That's examples of Charlotte. It's on the charts. There's what municipalities. The comprehensive plan outlines the need for this. We have a small rural plant that was developed by a private developer back in the early 80s that the DEP forced the township to take over, which is a negative. It loses money constantly because there's only 12 homes that service by it. So much it can handle.
Any additional questions from the committee? Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful weekend. Our next is the Flex Rate System Improvement Centerville Borough Sanitary Authority. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Great.
Good. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Charles Mayer. I'm the consulting engineer for Centerville Borough Sanitary Authority. And I was played a key part in preparing, well, I would say 2 applications. The one that we have in front of at hand here is the flex rate system improvements.
So we'll handle that one first, which is P9. We'll start with P9, which is the flex rate improvements first.
Okay. The authority had this flex rate system installed within the last couple of years. And the intent of this flex array system is to remove the screening material. So this is a pre-treatment process before it gets actually loaded into the chemical and biological treatment. The first step is to remove the screenings. And so this project is to improve that performance. They have two shortcomings with the system. One is they have a sanitary sewer that bypasses the flex array. So they have a portion of their system, most of the system does travel through the flex array, but there's a portion that will bypass flex array. So that causes the screening material to get into the biological reactors, and it clogs pumps. It causes also problems with the instrumentation. It'll put a hang up onto the flow monitoring equipment, so then they don't have the ability to see how the plant's performing. So part of this project is to install a new sewer line, approximately 190 feet, that will go and divert the sewage, the remainder of the sewage that bypasses it into the front of the flex array, so that 100% of the flow into the treatment plant does go through that flex array. The other challenge is that the flex array is essentially outside. It has a picnic pavilion type shelter, where it has 4 legs, it has a sloped roof. So the precipitation that would land, that would come straight down, would be protected. It would take that precipitation away. But the challenges they have with weather is that weather like today, where it's freezing rain, it's snow coming in sideways, it will get onto the equipment and cause it to freeze. So the other part of this project is to put a curtain. This is going to be an insulated curtain. It's going to be a polyester type material that is going to hang like a shower curtain. And what it's going to do is going to fully enclose that enclosure. And it's going to do 2 things. One is that it's going to keep the equipment dry during precipitation events. And the other objective is to keep the temperature a little bit warmer so that the freezing is going to be minimized with the enclosure. So this is the enclosure where they can pull back the curtain and they can do the maintenance and the service that's required. But typically late at night when the temperature goes below freezing, they can enclose this and allow the flex array to continue. When it freezes, it has a feature where it will shut itself off, and then there's a bypass, and then that's when we have 100% of the screen material going through the flex array and then into the remainder of the plant.
Thank you. Any questions on this? Which again is P9. No? Right, thank you. P12, which is the wastewater treatment plant testing.
Yes, this is a I'm gonna call it a sequel to an application that was submitted last year, and this is for making improvements to the wastewater treatment plant. It's to replace aging equipment and to make the plant operate more efficiently. So this involves replacing the air diffusers so that the interface with air and water is more effective in the wastewater treatment. It's replaced the blower equipment so that the blowers can run at an optimal speed. The blowers are also, they're getting worn out. They have a lot of miles on them as well. And then also replace the plant with the instrumentation that the DEP is requiring them to do additional monitoring more so than they have in the past. So this requires more equipment that has to be installed to do that monitoring. The application was submitted, and the total amount was 100. On my paper here. So in 2021, when this was application submitted, we had a cost estimate of $192,600, and a grant was provided for this project for $100,000. The authority is committed to contributing $21,400, and so with a $100,000 available and a price of $192,000 from 2021, as we know, prices, everything is going up. So this application is for additional funding for this project. This is a small authority. It's going to be very, very difficult for them to, if they're already contributing $21,000 to come up with the balance to finish the project.
The committee recommended last year $100,000, which you're using as a match for this year. Where did the cost, I mean, you're asking for $100,000 cost increases.
That was the actual.
Yeah.
That was the actual increase, $190,000.
Or is this a
Or did you
continuation?
add something
Yeah,
else to
you
it?
add something to it. We were under the impression last year this project was ready to go. That's why we recommended the county commissioners $100,000. Now you're saying
we're ready to do it.
Okay.
But the question is how's the before you're going to come up with the additional funding? So that's what this project is about, is asking the redevelopment authority for additional funding to make this economic feasible for the
Additional funding, $10,000 or $100,000?
Yeah. Right.
Does the additional funding leave it $10,000 or $100,000?
Well, one of the problems is the pricing of equipment is going up. You know, we're seeing cost increases of anywhere from 10 to 30% for pump station equipment. So that's the reason why, you know, it's ends up being as much as $110,000.
So let me get this right. You said last year the quote was 190.
Well, I would say in the fall of 2021, a little bit more than a year ago, it was 192.
Okay, so we gave you 100,000.
Right.
And we always ask the question whether or not with partial funding you can complete the project. So does that mean with the partial funding that we gave you, you couldn't complete the project?
What we can do is we can replace some of the equipment. We will be able to, should be able to install the air diffusers, but the blower equipment, which is essential for the aerobic treatment of the we can't afford it. The equipment is and the electrical equipment to support that equipment is the money just isn't there.
I just have one question. Sure. Why wasn't the 100,000 used 2 years ago? You came in shovel ready to go, and it's kind of banked until this one, another, whatever you're asking.
Well, we got the authorization to move forward this in just a few months ago. We're already in procurement of the instrumentation, dissolved oxygen and pH equipment for the monitoring. It's already we're moving forward with soliciting pricing, not pricing, but soliciting for that equipment already.
When you got the money to go ahead in 22.
We got to go ahead in 22, correct.
Last question. What's your projects? So what would your priority be of the two projects?
I would say it would be the first one, would be the first, right?
So I was going to say something similar. I apologize, Jeff. I have 4 projects.
There is another project. There's a project for the ultraviolet replacement.
I don't want to jump ahead or go backwards. It's same type of question. Where are the priorities?
I would say number one priority would be the UV replacement, which we already have money secured for that. That's from 2021. I would say the next priority would be the flex road improvements.
Right, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Center West is not the same, correct? The center.
No.
Yeah, that's the okay. Yeah. Any other questions? Thank you for your time.
Yeah,
appreciate it. 7th Street sanitary sewer replacement and Ash Street sanitary sewer separation, Mariana West, Bethlehem Joint Sewage Authority, P4. At 10 o'clock, we'll be taking a 5 to 10 minute break. Please take a moment to introduce yourselves.
Lawrence Lang, I'm the chairman of the Marion West Festival.
Good to see you.
Sarah Boyce, the Parking CE group.
You look very familiar. Good seeing you again.
And I'll be back.
Good seeing you. Please.
I'm the authorities. So this project is a mix of two projects. The first one is Ash Street. It is a continuation of a project that we received funds for last year. Since we received those funds last year, we have done most of the engineering. It's at about the 90% ratio. Once we did the cost estimate, once the engineering was completed, put it out to bid this fall, we realized that we did have to change some minor routing based on topography and landowner agreements. And between those and the inflation costs, it ended up raising the cost of the project. So we're asking for some additional funds on that. If we don't receive the funds, it's the same as we stated last year. We'll go partial and go one road at a time, but LSA time, so we asked. That kind of same goes into the 7th Street project. So in July of the summer, we discovered that we were having some odor issues with some residents. We did some televising and some smoke testing and found a couple holes in our system where the pipe has been damaged. We did talk about replacing it, but since it was so close to LSA and with some recommendations from the county, we added it into this application that instead of just doing a repair, since the whole goal is in the long term to do a separation project, that we would do a separation in this section anyways, because of where the pipes are that we have to replace. And that way we don't have to disturb the area twice in the next couple of years. So that's what they requested.
Questions?
So your ask is for $170,000. You have to split that up between Ash and 7th Street.
Split up is $95,000 for the Ash Street project and $75,000 for the 7th Street.
And Ash can get the project.
Yes. And we are continuing to move forward as we told you that we want to do that. So during the small water and sewer grant applications in December, we did apply for the next 2 phases of that project. That area is made up of 3 cross streets, the specific area that we're working in. The Ash Street project takes care of 2 of the sewer lines that are a street and a half. The part that we put in for small water and sewer would be the next phase, which is the next line and a half. And then we also put in an application to repair the distribution line that goes to the pump station. So we're trying to continue to move this forward as fast.
Any questions? Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you a little bit later. Sure. Boat dock expansion, C4, East Bethlehem Township. After this project, we'll take a 5 to 10 minute break.
I'm standing between you and the clerk.
No, you're fine.
I realize that.
I'll let the committee know too that the Cole Center Borough project most likely will not be appearing today. The presenter's not there.
Morning, my name is Glenn Wolf. I'm the Eads Group. The township manager, Marion, made it here this morning. She's under the weather. So
thank you.
What we want to talk about today is the boat dock expansion. In the packet, I think we're pretty clear about where we're looking to do that. So today, what I wanted to show you is currently this is an existing dock here, and currently the existing dock is here. And what we're asking for is to connect these 2 docks together in the middle along the river. What I wanted to share with you is some of the plans that the township has done to give you some background. In 2020, we developed a circulation pedestrian plan for downtown Fredericktown that essentially provides a loop through the municipality to get those downtown areas, have accessibility along the riverfront and to the existing docks. The township has also recently installed a kayak launch here, and this is Ferry Street in Fredericktown. Is where the location of the ferry went across back and forth the river. So this is great access here. The township has come in and built a retaining wall here and constructed 88 parking spaces. So we've got a good connection between the municipality, vehicular traffic, pedestrian traffic,
Also, too, the township has recently secured this property here, demolished a gas station, and we're currently developing what we're calling Gateway Park. The first phase of that park will go out to bid here in February. It includes a spray pool, a pavilion, and a small amphitheater type shelter. And the goal is to drag these folks off the river up into the municipality, create a destination for them. Phase 2 of this project for the park will create a public restroom facility, again, to try to give these folks a reason to come up in the municipality to draw them out. And hopefully we can provide that circulation, pull all that together. So you can easily drive to, your physical fitness. If you want to take a walk, it's nice not to go up a trail one direction and turn around and come back. It's nice to have a looping facility. And then, so we would have that within the municipality itself. And then actually with this connection here, it's a unique feature. You'd be able to come down and walk out into the river as part of your loop. Back to the That's what I have for you this evening.
Questions? Has the township explored any additional funding for this project through DCNR or any other state sources?
Not specifically for this, however, for this, which is in conjunction with it, they have 2 other grants for phase 1 park expansion and that region. And some of this they're funded on their own. For instance, the retaining wall, handicap accessibility, done that out of general.
Thank you. One question I had. Any others? Thank you for being with us today. Appreciate it. We're going to take a 5 to 10 minute break.
But it's all this stuff. Yeah.
I love it.
Well, at certain times.
Sets this up. They cannot get a handicap. But she only has one leg. Her doctor won't give her. She says she's fine. Can you help her get She says, you're downstairs with handicap. I said, yeah. She said, well, I said, your legs out. She said, well, I don't have a leg. I said, why are you going downstairs? She said, now there's not that yet, but it's our doctor. She goes like, yeah. That is. She has a You can't tell. Just for the kind of weather, you should be able to tell the building. Dark here.
Third grade. Yeah, double.
I told her she should not. Now I'm the perfect person. I was raised safe.
And they also don't put all the pressure out. They didn't know that was bad.
She was just so down to earth. Well, she has one leg. The doctor said she very AIDS.
We're back.
One leg. I don't know. Yeah. You get out on that ice. Well, there's no feel. I was ready to run them off. But of mine. Actually,
That was a long time ago. They did 81. That was on the 88 points. And an electric wheelchair was like, so, you know, it's just so challenging. Trying to get around in places, especially if you go to public space. Just because you have to get closer to the door.
a lot of people do.
Yeah, you have to leave your people really get your case.
This is, yeah, but I have a wrap real tight. I use a 7-inch, whatever they're called. I wrap it real tight. Base. And that way, then it's actually gets he said if one breaks loose, it's goodbye. Yeah. He was, I had to know him.
I had it like here.
He started behind my knee. Not there, he said he put 50 out. And he said tomorrow morning, I was doing okay. Tomorrow morning, he said we're going to go down and get a little bit. There were a lot of them there. And I came up and I was never in. He said, he said, buddy. I go to the medicine. I said, that's not it.
There you go.
Seriously.
Thank you for your contribution.
I know. You know, they have a program at the Meadows. They will not donate anything that involves children. And I said, that's ridiculous.
Oh, I see.
Because, yeah, I know. Now that's right. There's one incident that was going through a dance. And I take 6 feet. Money in the church. And I had to get a police officer. So I don't know which way it is. Obviously, Washington. Eggs at 84 minutes.
Well, there's the Canadians looking at millions and millions of dollars where they had to justify millions and millions.
Jay, are you going to the Tri-County next week?
No.
Caldwellsville?
No.
That's up your Chalk Hill, right?
Yeah, it sounds like you.
Way up there. Well, they did. Caldwellsville, fire department. We have a Tri-County program. Yeah, driving.
Get on early, take it.
Driving at night and stuff. No, I will, I'll go early.
We'll reconvene with J1, Enhanced Simulation for Education and Workforce Development, Washington Health System. Good morning. Take a moment to introduce yourself to those that don't know you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sarah Schumacher, the Executive Director for the Washington Health System Foundation.
And I'm Jamie Golden, Director of Staff Education in our school.
So thank you so much for having us. Thank you so much for the past support that we have received over the years from the LSA board and your recommendations. Hopefully you have seen that the Washington Health System has just celebrated our 125th anniversary. We're very proud to be an independent community health system. We have kept up with and continue to grow over those 125 years, and we intend to do that into the future, of course. Not only are we raising money for equipment, but really what we're doing is we're trying to care for the people in our community and all of you. As you know, healthcare was hit hard, as all industries were. And the best way that I can sort of show you that or tell you that in an overarching way is to talk a little bit about our capital budget. So typically WHS's capital budget ranges between $12 and $13 million for our health system. This year, the capital budget is $6 million. $3 million is already earmarked for facilities, which means we are down to $3 million to make capital improvements. And so we want to make sure that we're great stewards with our money, and that's where philanthropy and fundraising and all of you becomes so important to the mission and healthcare that we provide. Our submission this year directly impacts our community. It directly impacts the staff and the workforce that take care of you and all of us every day. But it's also a part of a partnership with outside organizations. It is for the Rice Energy Family Simulation Center for equipment and enhancements. And I'm going to pass it to Jamie, who is our expert. He's going to speak a little bit about that need and the items that are in your application.
Okay, like Sarah said, this project is for the SIM Center, and we're really looking at workforce development. I oversee both the staff education for our health system and our school of nursing. And together, this simulation center really is paramount for their growth and workforce development. We also have many organizations throughout our community, such as the police department, the ambulance and chair services, that come into our health system requesting the use of the simulation center. And from 2021 to 2022, looking at both of them, the utilization of our center has increased by 30%. And any given day, you can come into our simulation area and see that all rooms are occupied. Our equipment, we're not asking to replace our equipment, we're asking to improve our equipment or to get more. Because at this point in time, we're kind of stretched with all of the community wanting to come in and use our center as well. American Heart Association is also our training center for the whole area. And especially with the recent events with the heart attack football player, CPR, we have had tons of calls coming in wanting their organizations to come into the Sim Center to get certified for BLS. That in itself has so much impact, and with the equipment that we need for that. The other thing is, when we were looking at some of these equipment that we have on here, we have stretchers, we have torso trainers. These are not the full mannequins, they're the smaller pieces of that. We found as well, when we look at needs assessment in the hospital, we need to close or at least decrease knowledge gaps with our employees. Not always can they come over to our simulation center to get educated. So we found that it is working very well to bring the education to them. The stretchers are huge. Just moving equipment back and forth in our mannequins when we need to. So that would be a plus. Right now, it's like go outside and go into the element and come all the way around because it just doesn't fit. But we also have an oscillation trainer there, which is huge, especially for our school of nursing. We have our resident program as well for the physicians. We need to be able to hear sounds in order to implement treatment and things like that. And sometimes they're not always heard as well, just on the regular mannequins.
Excuse me, you're going slightly over time.
Okay, sorry.
I'll give you a sentence or two.
Yeah. We're good.
We're passionate.
They're always
coming
through. Yeah. Any questions?
Any questions? Ready? All being heard. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Happy Friday.
Thank you. Have a good weekend. P8, CAP sanitary sewer flow reduction and repair, the municipal authority of the city of Monongahela.
Jeff, I want to thank you for all the knowledge that I'm getting about sewer.
You're quite welcome.
I'm almost certain.
Look, next year we'll have you up here.
I was just going to say, I apologize for all the sewer talk today.
You could be our new Sarah Marshman. Yeah. Right, gentlemen, please take a moment to introduce yourselves and your 3 minutes will start.
Good morning. My name is James Roberts. I'm the authority manager of the municipal authority city of Monongahela.
My name is Colin Lampark. I'm the routine engineer for the authority. We're here today to talk about our corrective action plan for sanitary sewer repair that we hope will reduce flow in the system. The municipal authority treats about 1 million gallons a day. It owns and operates the treatment plant and interceptor sewers that serve the city of Monongahela and Carroll Township. As we know, now we're all sewer experts. When it rains, a lot of that flow gets into the pipes and goes through the plant and has to be treated. The goal of this project is to get some of that ground and surface water out. We've identified about 350 feet of our interceptor sewers that need to be repaired. Instead of digging these up and repairing them, we're planning to line them. Briefly, essentially, we're going to pull a sock through the sewer, inflate it, heat it, and it becomes a pipe inside of the pipe.
So a sock becomes a pipe.
Yes.
I wonder where they got it.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, when you do your laundry.
That's what the missing socks are.
It's where they go.
It's a very, very special sock.
Yeah,
Very special, expensive sock.
Good insight, Senator. Good insight.
But, yeah, we heat it up, becomes a pipe inside the pipe, it plugs all those leaks and, restores the integrity of the pipe. That the benefit of that is it's cheaper than digging it up, and it also, tear up roads and impact the community. By doing this, we treat close to the capacity of the plant right now in peak conditions. So any flow that we can get out is good. It helps keep our rates down, the burden on operations at the plant. It improves water quality in the region. So this is an important project for us. We estimate the estimated cost of $125,000. We're asking for 100 and planning on matching 25. And that's really it. I'd like to thank the board for the opportunity to present here today.
Yes, thank you.
Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Jimmy?
How long does the fix work for versus replacement? Like,
It would be the same. Useful life is probably 25 to 50 years.
Definitely. And we plan on doing these repairs regardless of the outcome.
Any additional questions?
How many feet has to be repaired?
This project addresses about 350. These are our worst areas where, like you can see in the picture, that's where the most storm water is getting in, or the pipes in the worst condition.
In the future, huh?
We probably, there's a couple more projects in the future, a couple more phases.
So this section, you're looking at round number $35. Each slip line.
Yep. Yep.
Versus 90, would you say?
Yeah, at least to open cut replacements could be $200 a foot. Okay. I will say though that you can't do this if the pipe's totally collapsed. If it does it, you can, through continuous maintenance and inspection, we've been able to. Lining is still a good candidate here.
This project is to stay on top of.
Stay on top of it. That's right.
Any additional questions? Gentlemen, thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Hopefully we added to your,
I know, I was thinking.
C20 is Independence Township, the Independence Township Community Park. Morning, Rich, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Please take a moment to introduce yourself.
My name's Rich Cleveland, and I'm here today as a consultant. This is how we dress in Green County. I've been doing Independence grant writing for a while, and people everywhere in their communities that are elected are enthusiastic about everything, but they're just not coachable. So out of the ask, the 408,000, truly what is needed is the restroom facility, which with everything would be about 120. That's my presentation.
Straightforward.
And I think the county has these facilities in their parks. They're prefab, they come and set them and they're done. So, but that's what they need. Everything that you funded in the past and DCNR has funded in the past are being used very well in the parks, right? So.
I missed the number again.
Well, the ask from the applications.
Yeah, I got that.
But to do the restrooms with the match they committed, which they would still commit, about 120,000.
That's for 2 restrooms.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess a disclosure I should state, and don't hold this against me, but Scott Putnam is my brother.
Sorry to hear that.
And let's go Buffalo.
Let's go. All right, any questions? Hold on. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Nope, none? All right. Great. Thank you. Thank you. All right. P39, Donegal Township, Main Street Storm Sewer.
Stranger.
morning again. Please introduce yourself. We'll,
Randy Shepherd, supervisor from the township on the road crew and drinking water from a fire hydrant and what I got on.
well, good to see you.
And as always, I'm Sarah Boyce with our PCE group. I am the township's utility engineer. This project that we put in for the Main Street Storm Sewer project, it's actually the continuation. It would be the third phase of this project. A couple of years ago, we had some water issues at the plant. This is where this project drains to. The borough, the township took care of that themselves. Repaired a non-working inlet, put in some new riprap channels, swales, rerouted some water, so we got rid of water that's wet wells. On the upstream end of the collection, it is a CDBG project that was put out to bid last year. It wasn't awarded because we didn't receive any bids at the time. It's not an overly large project. It has some paving in it and some storm sewer. We are going to rebid that in the spring with some other similar projects that it gets installed. So this is kind of the point. This is kind of the point B to C of the project. Up to now, they've used all their own money besides CDBG funds to pay for everything. So we thought maybe this time we try to ask for some funding to help with us. It will be we're going to try to stay as much as a natural channel that runs through there. We'll clean it up. It kind of has eroded its own ways through there. It's not stabilized. It changes. It's a high flow area. So our hope is to put a couple areas where the water can slow down and stop to prevent erosion in the location. And it will tie together two inlets at the top that currently just kind of disperse. So.
Any questions? Thank you. Great weekend.
Thank you.
Depot Heights Park Phase 1, hazardous material cleanup and site prep, Union Township.
Morning, guys. How are y'all?
Good morning, how are you?
Good. Good.
C23.
I'm here on behalf of Union Township. We have a park there, or a piece of property we'd like to renovate or to rehabilitate. I just became solicitor back in Union Township, I believe, on October 31st, but I've noticed that the township has a lot of growth coming in. We already have one housing development being done by Scarmazzi. We also have two other housing developments on the road. Plus, we're having a meeting next week with some type of shopping area coming into the township. So the reason why I mentioned that to you, because I think Union Township is the next Cecil Township of Washington County. What makes me really happy about that is because, as well aware, Union Township is also part of the Mon Valley, which needs assistance. So it's my position that this park will be of great assistance to securing more development, residential and commercial. And once that happens, then this park will help the township, then the township will help the other townships south of it in the valley. I think this is a great project for you people to consider because, face it, people want to have parks in their communities, and that will be a drawing area for the whole township. Now, the Nike site was acquired back in 2014 when I was a solicitor back then with the assistance of Tim Murphy. Tim Murphy was very grateful and helped us get the properties. We received two large parcels of land. One is currently being used for township salt shed, but this piece of property is on top of a hill, and it's great for having in terms of a park for people to have paths and all that. So this site, the Nike site, has a number of buildings that need to be removed and rehabilitated because there's asbestos and other problems with the property. The property can only be used for this type of park because it cannot be used for residential because there's a covenant in the deed. In terms of commercial and in terms of industrial, it's almost impossible because the federal government retained all of its rights and easements to utilize that property. So from our perspective, the best use of this property will be for a park. Again, there are a number of structures there that need to be removed. I think you have some type of expenses that will be incurred to do all this stuff. But again, if this goes through, the township can make a contribution of at least $100,000 to do the park. So I think it's really a great project for Union Township. Again, I think Union Township will be the next Cecil Township in this community. What makes this better for you guys to consider is that this is the gateway to the Mon Valley, which needs some type of assistance. So I think it's a great project. Any questions, concerns about this project from anybody?
Hazardous materials, have you spoken with the redevelopment authority? They have new programs, initiatives to clean up sites, things of that nature.
I don't know if that's happened at all. I can't tell you because I'm unaware of that. But, you know, we can do that. But again, we do the redevelopment authority. I've gone through that before. It might be a little more difficult. This situation, this money will be used to clean up the site and also to create paths, you know, walkways and all that. So I think it's a great project.
How many phases do you think will take place in creating this project?
I think the first phase would be to remove the debris, to remove all the, there's buildings up there. And as you all well, this was the Nike site, I guess they had, back in the Cold War, was supposed to be used for all, yeah, they were before my time. It'll probably take 2 phases. First phase, you'll have to remove all the debris. Second phase, we have to have more development in terms of creating park, you know, creating.
The township done anything removing any of the weeds, trees, debris?
Well, you have to be very careful because there's covenants inside the deed, which I did back in 2014. You have to be very careful. I don't know if they've done anything up there recently, but we have to be careful about removing the weeds and all that stuff because there is a question about the soil. But again,
The building demolition can happen outside of the hazardous material cleanup,
correct.
so there is an opportunity to use partial funding to at least start the process.
Yes.
Any other questions? Thank you for being with us. Have a wonderful weekend.
And I'll tell Ricky Mullish I saw you today.
Please do. All right. Burgettstown Senior Center, Community Center, new roof. Aging Services, Maryland, C6.
Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Good. So I'm Mary Lynn Spilak, the Director of Aging Services, and thank you for the opportunity to present. I have good news. We have additional match money to add to this project, another $5,000 from the seniors. So we'll just be requesting the $55,000 for the roof. The Burgettstown Senior Center is a focal point in the community. The building is 22 years old. The roof needs replaced badly. The seniors cannot raise that kind of money. We're glad they were able to raise the $15,000. So we're asking for your assistance and consideration, and we appreciate your time. Of course, that site does congregate meals, home delivered meals, an awful lot of activities to keep older people engaged, to eliminate isolation and loneliness.
Pretty easy need for
We're all aging.
Question I have, who owns the facility?
The facility is owned by the Burgettstown Senior Citizens.
Do you have some type of, like, I think I know the answer to this, but like capital improvement budget or things you put in each year just to keep it up?
We do not. 95% of our budget at Aging Services goes to pay staff salaries, mileage, and some equipment. So we do not. The seniors have a small fund for routine maintenance, but they do not have that kind of money.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Were you mentioned you had an additional $5,000.
So it's good. So 15,000 match, and we're requesting 55,000.
Any other questions?
Hey,
Marilyn,
thank you for
thank
your time.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
C18, Billyville Volunteer Fire Department Training Facility. Mayor to excuse himself.
Good morning, my name is Jeff Lawrence.
Good morning, how are you?
40-year member of the fire department, past fire chief.
Please give us a moment while I'm there. Thank you.
Don't forget me out here now.
Once again, my name is Jeff Lawrence. I'm Bentonville Fire Department. I've been in the fire department just over 40 years now. It's great to feel that my boys, my 3 sons are all involved now. My oldest son's actually the fire chief now, so he's taking over that part for us. And but anyways, right now we're looking into building a facility, the training facility our current building that we have is a 40 by 60 garage with 4 trucks in it. It is stacked tight. Our trucks, we just purchased a brand new truck, and it's 24 foot long. It's a mini pumper, and it's got to be built just for our garage. Now, this training facility is not going to house a truck full time, but it's actually more of a training facility for us to go down to and train in throughout the year. Not just us, but other fire departments that we train with. Every Monday night, we do some type of training, so we would be training with other fire departments, medics, and also spoke to Chief Harris from Monongahela Police. He actually, the Monongahela Police actually patrols Finleyville and Union Township. And we talked about doing some type of training together also, if possible. But this building would actually house multiple things, such as we looked at buying a gear washer. So the gear washer would be used for any time we go to a structure fire, we have to wash our gear to get the particles out of it that causes cancer and stuff like that. So we have to take it apart. There's a washer, there's a dryer. It's bigger than a normal washer and dryer. So that's what we'd like to use this building for also, to house that.
Please explain that a little bit more, because this isn't your average Maytag washing machine.
No, I actually have a photograph of it here too. Yeah, so here's your washer here, and then here's your dryer down here. Something like that.
How many uniforms do you do?
One at a time. Yeah. So when we wash them, washing, you put them right in the dryer, and the dryer actually will dry multiple equipment at a time. The dryer does.
Please excuse my ignorance, but do you have to use a different type of detergent? I'm
Yes, you
assuming
do.
you're not using wool.
Yes, you do.
detergent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm supposed to use a different type of fabric or cleaner, actually.
Okay.
And actually, that's what this washer, see the jug here? It's special washing. We do not have a gear washer at this time. We go to the other departments and use ours. So, but this training facility, it would be actually on our lot that we purchased. We actually tore a building down about 6 years ago on this piece of property. It's right behind our fire station, and we tore the building down, and it was an old house, and the ground's ready. Spoke to the contractor. We actually have a full detail from Marty Brothers in Finleyville, who've done a lot of work throughout the county and other buildings. But so the price of it was like $377. Our fire department was willing to put up $70,000. Finleyville Borough Finleyville Borough put up $10,000. So we're asking for $297,000 from the county, from the LSA fund. Like I said, we just purchased a brand new truck. It's in production right now. It's in New York. We're looking for it to be delivered sometime in June.
Sir Jeff,
Yes, sir.
First, did you start the fire department at 5 years old?
Excuse me?
At 40 years, did you start at 5 years old? How about, give me some numbers on how many calls
Please
you guys.
no flattering.
How many calls are you guys getting a year?
This past year, we ran 225 emergency calls. The calls that we run are getting to be different every day. I've seen a lot in my life, and it's like a challenge to what we can do. I'm actually work for the gas company. A few other gentlemen in our company work for the gas company, but we have plumbers, electricians, everybody. With all that knowledge, we go together and we train, and it helps, believe me. But like I said,
Of your 200 calls, I guess, how many were the fire calls?
out of structure fires, I'm gonna, I don't have the fire report with me, but out of structure fires, 8 working structure fires, I do believe we had this past year. I mean, we get called more structure fires, but it's actually 8 working structures. The building, once again, we'd be using for like vehicle extrication, search and rescue mazes, hose evolution, rope class, hydrant class. The Finley Middle School, which is in Union Township, they're tearing it down at this time. So we actually use the outside of the building for training, and we can't use it anymore because obviously it's tore down. And as you heard Mr. Union Township is actually starting to build. Scarmacy has 100 houses to be built, and almost half were built at this time. Ryan Homes is looking to build at Mineral Beach. They just put Tractor Supply in. So our area is actually starting to grow a lot more. But this building would be 40 by 70, like basically a 4-bay garage, and set up. And what our thought would be to set one area up for physical fitness. So that was another thing what we want to do, put physical fitness equipment in there, and also in the same areas have our hose or have our gear washer in that area, and then use the other part of the area for our training.
Are you requesting any dollars for the washing machine, so to speak?
I did not put it in the funding. I didn't know how that. I was mainly worried about the building, but if it's possible, I mean, I didn't put it in there. But that's $20,000 right there just for the washer and dryer. We do have some physical fitness equipment that was donated to us. We will put it into a storage facility at this time, to where if we ever have an area to put it, but we don't have an area right now.
Any additional questions?
Jeff, I toured the facility and saw how antiquated everything was and the things that you're having to do to makeshift some kind of training with tipping tables over and everything you're having to do firefighters crawl through. How many square feet is the building you're in right now for your training? How much training square footage you have right now?
Our building right now is 40 by 60, and this building be 40 by 70. It's what we can only fit on that lot that we have.
Right, but that would take the training out of the room.
Oh, yeah,
the building you're using now for all the other things you're using.
That's correct.
And
Currently what we're doing is we're taking our tables in our social hall and turning them on its side. So firefighters crawling on the edge, but the problem with that is you're scuffing up your finished floor and everything. So that we use the wall, that basically the tables on their side, use them as a wall, they should crawl. And it's, we use it as a training facility out in our social hall. This here, we could actually set a maze up. I spoke to other fire departments and they'd be able to utilize the building like this.
How many other fire departments would share in the training?
Well, we currently run with like El Ramo Fire Department, Lackawanna Fire Department, New Eagle, Peters, Worcester Bay, Valley Inn Fire Department. So we do a lot of training with them also.
Additional questions? That being heard. Thank you. Thanks for your service.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate the time.
We're running slightly ahead of schedule, so we could take a break for a few minutes if you'd like. Or, well, let's wait for our crowd to build up. How's it? Good. I know I've got 2 breaks. We'll take a break for 10 minutes. Our next project will be McDonald Heritage in 10 minutes.
They might be outside. There's 5, 6 people outside the door.
Oh, I brought my lapis.
There's no chaos.
That's right. You're the game changer. That sounds familiar. So the witch job is literally to win. That makes complete sense. Find another sense.
Yeah, it's not going on right now. But it is. The house is so much.
That's right. Oh, yeah. That's what
Hi there. No, he wants to go in the game. Well, he's good. That around. And I actually know it was I have a picture of what literally what I saw. The path you're going down. More than none of them. And you know, if you want to play chicken, like, we couldn't take that in. So now, it's like, but yeah, right, and he's
I know Kim. I love Joe. I met some people. Well, I'll tell you, we were in
That's what we did.
I was in Washington.
So, yeah, we're excited.
No, when I went last night, and I said, I don't want to. I still think it's the best option. But there are like I would want to just shut down, like this is the deal. Yeah. Sorry, you know, change your registration. On the floor. As soon as you're up on the roster, we'll start to do something. You know. No, I understand. Yeah, there's no problem. Are you serious? He doesn't want to. Still on. Yes. But he thought before, it's like, it's turned in as soon as it's happened. No, you don't roll. You missed the difference. You don't roll in with like oh, okay. I got you now.
Yeah, I say
How did you get that? Everybody's stuff. Our next.
Everybody ready? Sure. McDonald Heritage Park Rehabilitation, McDonald Borough, C24. Better watch who you're hanging around. Good morning, again, welcome. Please, what's your name?
My name is Amber Wasco.
Good morning to you. And please start.
I'm on behalf of McDonald Borough Council and our Parks and Recreation Committee. I'd first like to thank you for your time this morning. We are looking to seek additional funding to continue our rehabilitation project on our Heritage Park. We currently are in the process of making ADA accommodations to our current facility. Currently, we're going to be removing a playground and installing handicap parking along with some handicap walkways to access the different pavilions and facilities within the park. Also, we are working to replace our current playground, which will be completed spring. We're currently seeking additional funding. We would like to install a permanent restroom facility at our park that would be able to accommodate individuals with disabilities. Unfortunately, we do not have any facilities at this time at that park. We're also looking for additional money to build a permanent cage structure for the variety of activities, events, concerts.
Okay. Any questions? Lenny? Please.
Could you do partial? I mean, if it's, again, there's a limited amount of money, and could you break it up into different priorities? What would your priority be?
Our first priority would be the restroom.
Rachel, any other questions?
Thank you. Thank you very much for the money from last year. That's what purchasing the playground. It's in process right now to be purchased. And we use their CDB as well as that copy, which is also installed. It's awarded. So it will be installed.
Very good. Any additional questions? None being heard. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend. Our next project is the Robert House Preservation, Washington County Cultural Trust, C32. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you. Please take a moment to introduce yourself.
Yes, sir. My name is Andrew Andronis. I am the president of the Washington County Cultural Trust. For those that don't know, the Washington County Cultural Trust is the 501c3 that owns and operates the historic Roberts House in Canonsburg. For those that don't know much about the Roberts House, not only one of the oldest structures in Washington County, but one of the last buildings associated with Jefferson College. We have been in control. Our new regime, we call ourselves Regime 2, because Regime 1 was roughly 2007. That's right, we overthrew them, it's a tyranny. Regime 1 received some LSA money from you all in roughly 2007. Used that money to acquire the property and do some structural support. We have taken over in the past year, and we are ready to take this project completely over the goal line. One thing in that year that we have realized is not only the significance of this for the borough of Canonsburg and the county of Washington, however, it's a regional asset. The conversations and the folks that I have dealt with in this year-long process, as far as RFPs, architecture, engineering, the historical people will go wild about the Roberts House of Canonsburg. It is a southwestern Pennsylvania asset. So that being said, for those that have been to the property, it is roughly half an acre up on the hill in Canonsburg, and it is one of 10 lots that were the original 10 lots laid out by John Cannon in 1794. So to kind of bring it all full circle, this is in fact where Canonsburg started. Those that have been to the property on the 5-acre site, or roughly, I'm sorry, half-acre site, the structure is massive, but it does need a lot of work outside of structural, cosmetic, not only on the interior and the exterior. We are asking for a little bit more than $1 million. Again, those that have been there, we could spend every dollar of it. From that perspective, we are looking to, once complete and restored, provide the community in the surrounding area with an event venue, small indoor gatherings, large outdoor gatherings, a mixture of museum, boardroom. The structure is massive, so there's plenty of upside. In our new regime, we do have a vice president of an engineering firm, that is on board, that has done so much work. We thank him on a daily basis, hourly, if it's up to me. So our in-kind match is not the full $1 million, of course. However, we have certified professionals on our board of trustees that are really looking to get this thing over the goal line, and they have been volunteering a ton of their expertise and professionalism in regards to this project. So just kind of long story short here, the project itself, again, massive significant impact on the local cultural and historic district of Canonsburg, Washington County, and southwestern Pennsylvania. And what we are currently doing right now, we have an RFP that has been established. We will be looking to send this RFP out to multiple architectural firms here within the month. And we are hoping with the successful award of some local share money that we can award that project to the architect, who will be sitting on top of the project for its entirety to completion. They will hire a construction manager. They will vet out the construction of all facets, whether it be mechanical, whether it be interior, exterior, cosmetic, etc., and they will serve as the GC on the project. We're looking to have 2023 as our design phase, which it'll take every bit of that, with construction hopefully starting in early 2024. That's really all I have. Does anyone have any questions in regards to the project? Any questions?
I'm looking at your spreadsheet here on your contributions and whatever. What kind of match are you looking at? You said architect?
Yes, sir. So we have an in-house engineer as one of our trustees, and over the past year, he's estimated his efforts to be upwards of $75,000, just as far as professional fees, RFPs. Again, we scratch our heads and we're thankful for him. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you didn't put that in your application. I'm looking at the spreadsheet right now. It's all LSA. You should solve this.
Okay. Any additional questions?
Again, this seems to be like the entire project start to finish, and you put a number on it and that's your ask. But there obviously will be phases. How much is your architect, renderings and design? What is that going to be? And then, moving forward, can you break it down into different phases, if you would, and can you do this in different phases, and what might that look like?
Yes, ma'am. So the architectural cost, just per our inside source there, we're looking at roughly 75 to 80K of architectural fees. So what that will do is, once we can hire an architect, pay that amount, that will get us into our first design phase, which will take kind of the majority of 2023. And then from there, the next phase will be putting that out to market for contractors. And you could imagine the majority of money there will follow. I believe in that application, we got 860-some thousand as far as the actual budgetary numbers put together from our in-house engineer, put together from all the different aspects of what the construction would cost. And we also have visions of the outdoor area, a ton of buildings and grounds, pavers, outdoor events, really just maximizing the entire parcel. So yes, phase one would be design. That would be the award to the architect. Phase two would begin the construction, and then we could bolt on a phase three to really spruce it up and get ready for business. Any additional questions?
None being heard. Andrew, thank you.
Thank you for your time, everyone.
The Charleroi Demolition and Blight Initiative, Phase 2, Charleroi Borough. See Matt with us. C10.
Good morning, all. How are y'all?
Yes.
There, how are you, sir?
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, Mike.
All right, please take a moment to settle in and introduce yourselves.
Just not what yourselves, man. Hi there, Matt Staniszewski, the Borough Manager for Charleroi. How are you all?
Larry Slavsky, Borough Councilman.
Okay, so we're asking for 180 grand. Reason being is y'all awarded about 200,000 last year and successfully are completing about 70% of that project. Obviously with inflation, costs have gone up to raise certain properties, and we want to continue those efforts moving forward. With that being said, there's a lot of investment going on in Charleroi right now. The Mon Valley Alliance with an MPP of about 1.5 million, a CMAC, which you can address real quick, about 6 million.
Yeah, we wrote that along with Jeff Lighthouser, who was very instrumental in that, my first term on council. That money has been slow to be delivered, but that is happening now in March of 2023.
So all of this will partially complement all these other dollars coming into downtown Charleroi. With that being said, there's 3 more properties in the residential area, as well as 421 McKean Avenue, which is right next to the Market House within Charleroi Borough. It's a great opportunity. We've worked with the land bank and put it to action. So the land bank actually acquired the property on our behalf. So we're ready to go. We have site control for all of these properties and essentially being shovel ready. With that being said, next to the Market House, what we envision, we need money to take down the old quote Sluggers building. We do want to try to preserve some of the facade to keep those historical elements, but also have like garage doors, which will enable us to do indoor and outdoor events to bring more people downtown. It also ties in with our STMP plan, as well as the Mon Valley Alliance multi-municipal comprehensive plan, making walkable communities, reducing blight, helping to spur economic development because we have the boat launch, and we're trying to connect the boat launch, making it a walkable community through the downtown to different transit assets. And again, there's 3 other properties within the residential area that also need to come down, which is part of the original ask from last year. So we just want to continue and expand upon our momentum. Anything else you want to add?
Questions?
Yeah. So how does the redevelopment, is there a program within redevelopment specifically for light and demolition? That's my question. I ask anyone.
Yes, they set up the land, I'm sorry. They set up the land bank, which is a newer legislation, and we're putting that to action. And yes, that is a mechanism to help acquire properties that are blighted, correct?
Do they do the demolition?
They help, yes, they administer on our behalf. So the redevelopment authority, we've been working hand in hand. We thank them very much. And we thank you all for supporting and providing us funds as well.
Can you request
180 this round, correct.
I'm sorry, I thought you said 100.
Oh, no, 180. Okay. And also to add to that.
Did you say 108 or?
No,
180.
180. And also on top of that. 180,000. You know, obviously we've also absorbed some of the cost overruns for the first round. So we've been handling that all in-house. We also have CDBG funding to do a bunch of sidewalk upgrades, downtown ADA enhancements. So this just ties in with everything we're doing.
We appreciate using the commissioner's dollars to do it.
Absolutely. And we thank the commissioners and all of you for your support and continuing support.
Any questions or additional ones?
Are these properties that are identified in addition to what you got funding for last year, I guess?
Correct. So we, with the round of funding last year, were able to complete about 70% of that. Again, because of inflation, different costs have obviously gone up since then. So the 180 is going towards this downtown economic development project, but also completing those projects we had initially submitted to you all last year that you all did approve.
Yes,
I would just ask, obviously, in an aging community, Washington, Charlotte, sure. There's obviously older housing stock. And do you have a list of residential buildings on a demolition list? And how many buildings would you say are currently in need and are doing, obviously taking down what you can with the dollars you have?
Charlotte, great question, Mayor. Charlotte has a list of about 90 properties, and we have site control for each and every one of those. So we're able to quickly move through that process.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Have a good weekend.
You as well. Thank you.
Center of the Woods, parking lot, sidewalk, safety upgrades and repairs. Center of the Woods, C9.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Please take a moment to introduce yourself.
My name is George Pressledge. I'm with Center of the Woods, and our project, as Jeff said, was parking lot, sidewalks, and 7 storm drains. For those of you who don't know much about Center of the Woods, it's probably the largest senior center in the state of Pennsylvania. It was built as a senior center. However, it's developing into more of a community center. We not only serve older folks, but we have a medical clinic there. So a lot of folks come in for medical appointments. We have a mental health clinic. We have a Head Start program there for the kids. So kind of encompasses everyone. And so we have a lot of traffic coming onto the property. We have a lot of foot traffic, vehicle traffic. Our issue is the parking lot's 35 years old. Well, the whole structure is. It's starting to crumble, buckle. Sidewalks are some of the sidewalk pads are lifting 2 to 3 inches higher than the one before or after. We actually have taken fluorescent paint, painted the edges of the walks so that the older folks or just anybody doesn't trip over, they'll see that they're raised. A lot of them are also crumbling. Another big issue we have is with the storm drains. We have 7 major storm drains. I mean, these are the big storm drains. And over the years, the freeze thaw has caused the bricks to be pushed into the drains. Now, we have blocked off one of them. We put barrels on it because we're afraid a vehicle will go over it and are going to go through. And we do get a lot of traffic in the center. At the center. The issue is once those bricks fall into that storm drain, they're going to block the exit of the water. We're now going to do a flooding project, not in the parking lot, but actually in the building, because the building sits lower than the parking lot. Everything runs down to the building. So we're very concerned about that, but safety is our main concern. Someone's going to trip, get hurt. The grates over those storm drains, they're rusted, they're old. A heavy enough vehicle goes there, we're probably going to go through it. Plus, none of it's ADA approved as of today's regulations. So the grates need to be changed to ADA type grates. The ramps don't have safety strips. There's just a lot of things we need to do. We didn't want to guess on this project, so we hired an engineering firm. They came in and they evaluated the project. They came up with a estimated cost of $240,436. However, we were able to come up with $15,000 in match, and that was actually tapping the Oaks, which is the 40-unit housing, senior housing that's on the property. So we were able to get money from them to help with the match because they have to use the main drive to get up to the Oaks. So as you can see, it's 24/7. There's traffic coming in and out of the property. So it's very important we get this, these things fixed because eventually somebody's going to get hurt. It's just a matter of time. And again, we're going to have a real serious issue with flooding.
Thank you, George. Any questions?
What's your priority on the repair?
Well, definitely the 7 storm drains because they're all collapsing now. The sidewalks, that's a real major issue. I mean, pavement, we can patch here and there, but it's also an issue because, you have to come in off the highway. There's a lot of vehicles coming up and down that driveway. So even if the drive, I'd say right now, like I said, storm drains and concrete, those are definitely major issues.
Any additional questions? You heard? George, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you
Have a
very
nice
much.
weekend.
Have a good day.
You too, sir. The facade grant for Washington Business District, Washington Business District Authority, C-17. Oh, okay, thank you. Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Shana Brown. I am the Main Street Manager with the Washington Business District Authority. And this is Evan Chambers, the new chairman of the board. So thank you guys for having me again. So the facade grant program in downtown Washington has really been instrumental in causing the physical changes, and not just that, the perceptual changes. And as we all know, sometimes with cities, the perception is 9/10 of the battle. So every time we have a project and we do the social media posts, the outpouring of support that we get from the community and thanks, and this is amazing, thank you so much for doing this, has been quite honestly overwhelming. So it's been really instrumental for the perception of downtown and the physical changes. So the last 4 years, we have had 55 projects and over $1 million of investment into the downtown Washington Business District. Last year, we had 23 applicants and we were able to give 9 awards. So there's still very much a need. It's not slowing down. And there's still a lot of people waiting in the wings for this facade grant. So the facade grant program also offers carrot to new businesses sometimes. It could be the tipping point with getting a business to come into downtown. If we have this kind of incentive saying, well, hey, I know there's a lot of startup costs, but we have this program that could be, help you out with facade and signage and just getting you back up and running. It could be the tipping point between them deciding upon Washington as opposed to surrounding communities. So it's really important. And also a lifeline, so to speak, for some existing businesses, because structural integrity and structural facade projects are covered under this facade grant program. So, a lot of old buildings in downtown Washington. So sometimes this is what they need just to continue and have the structural integrity. This year we did change it up. We're doing a 20% match commitment from the applicants. The WBDA does have secured matching funds as a backup of $25,000, but we are asking for a commitment from the facade grant applicants of a 20% match. Downtown Washington is at a turning point. We worked really hard this past year to assemble an amazing team, Team Washington, for making t-shirts. So next year when I come back, I'll get one. And on that note, I do have to say thank you for your support, because you are so much a part of that Team Washington. As a community member first, and then obviously in this position, the facade grant and the physical changes throughout the downtown business district. They've been instrumental. So the facade grant program was the catalyst behind all that. So thank you for your past support and your future consideration.
Any questions?
It's sort of like the question you had the other day related to the grant. So we're providing funding for you to actually grant out, and then the laws and connections and bylaws associated with us. So I know that we've done it in the past and you've been successful. I just want to understand.
I think the difference is that throughout this program, the funds, we are aware of the actual intention, and of course, the ones that are awarded. The other one that we spoke to prior, there was no guidelines, or we did not know if that met the actual guidelines of our grants.
That was the river.
Correct.
So this is like a Main Street program.
Yes, and we have a very extensive application that we go over every year, and I personally meet with every award recipient, and we go over, we make sure they know the stipulations and they know the qualifications and what's going to be required of them.
And this is a continuation of the grants you've received prior, very similar to Canonsburg and a few years ago, Senator Charlotte as well.
So you mentioned you changed slightly to 20%.
20%.
What was it?
In the past, the WBDA put up the match and pool. So we switched it up just to have, a little bit more skin in the game for the businesses. Not that it's ever been a problem, but we just wanted to see a firm commitment.
So in the past, the building owner wasn't required to.
The WBDA put it up.
We made some positive changes to the estimate process. Has been bolstered, and we'll obviously have the subcommittee. And like you mentioned, Jeff, this is a continuation of what we've done in the past. But as a Main Street business owner, I just wanted to say, I think about the growth of my business, my brother and I taking over, and the visual appeal of downtown is so important to the economic vitality. I think about hiring other people. It extends beyond the walls of my own building. So it's been extremely important, and I think about attracting people. This is something that helps with. This is a place I want to work. So
no one else argues that the city of Washington has a business district tax director assessment, whereas Charlotte and Canonsburg do not. Too big in dollars again that were originally going from the business owners. Then you're asking for it again. So you just use it just to kick it off. Okay. Any additional questions?
The 20% match, does that go back into doing more facade grants? Put it back into that.
So we.
you go ahead first.
So the 20% match, it just really serves as a commitment. They put it up. It's for their project. It's for their building. It's for their facade. So if a project was, $10,000, I'm really bad at math. $10,000, they would be required to put in the $2,000 and then, receive the additional $8,000 for the facade.
Okay, I just didn't know if that was due and if the match.
It's specifically for the project. We do. It's a maximum $25,000, and we do try to take that into consideration as well, because we get a lot of smaller asks, and we try to limit it to like 2, maybe 3 bigger asks for the big projects, and then try to level it out to give everybody else a chance for smaller projects. Well, it was record breaking this year. We've never had 23 applicants before, so it's very much still going strong.
We're prioritizing finance, make sure it's spread out.
Yes, absolutely.
Any additional questions? Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Our next project is E5. You'll see at 11:15 that we do not have one scheduled. The next project is E5, though, going in Ridge Road Industrial Park, Chapman Properties.
Good morning, all.
Morning.
Senator, Representative, Mayor, Chief Martin.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Good to see you today. Tony Rosenberger and Nick Phillips. Our project is in the furthest north of Washington County as you can get. And I think Nate's got a pretty good presentation.
Good morning, everyone. Is it okay that I stand?
Please, someone has to hold it.
Thank you. Nate Phillips, Chapman Properties, Ferguson Associates, affiliate of Chapman Properties. For clarity, we are the landowners and developers of Ridge Road Industrial Park. Ridge Road Industrial Park is located at the border with Allegheny County at the northern end of Robinson Township. So this photo that I'd like to point to shows kind of the county line. All of the development that you see here is in Allegheny County. This site at the bottom is Washington County, and we're hoping to capture some of this activity in Allegheny and bring it as an income-producing project to Washington County. Just for some background, this is a 40-acre site, 25 acres in Washington County. We are graded. All the permits are in place, approvals are in place to continue and go vertical. What we're asking the LSA board today for is a $500,000 contribution to the initial infrastructure investment, roads, utilities, to create a road and an entrance into this park. 2 things I wanted to point out about this photo. Obviously, the grading is underway. This was taken in August. We have 4 pads created. The second thing I'd like to point out is this development back here, Chapman Westport. This is 1.7 million square feet today in Allegheny County. This was kicked off by a $2.5 million RTAP grant 12 years ago. Today, this project produces $3.2 million annually in taxes to Allegheny County, Findlay Township, and the school district. We are projecting at full build for Ridge Road Industrial Park, a smaller industrial park, but 300,000 to 400,000 a year tax revenue across 200,000 square feet of industrial park. So if you take away nothing else from today, know that we are pad ready, and this will bring income that we can make further improvements to all the good projects that you've heard here today.
And Robinson Township has gotten very little help in that northern sector. As far as grants are concerned, they've been relatively content with sort of doing it on their own. This will stimulate that to get it to the next step. Our track record's been very good in Washington County. Our properties in Washington County have done well. We hope to continue that on this site.
That's ready to go, all your state permits.
Water, dirt, everything is in. We're moving dirt. What we need is the road. It's just that simple. And without the road and asphalt on it, we can't get this thing all the way in and access. So what we have now is a haul road.
So who will own
It'll be a township road when we're done, but that can't be turned over until we fully develop the whole site.
We'll design it to township standards.
and how about prospective
Yeah, would you like to say who's committed?
No, you don't have to say that. I'm just, you don't have to say that. Just,
Wait,
I didn't ask.
you know, the net of it is, I can only tell you that our success rate out there has been 100%.
You have demand, you have demand.
We have better, part of Chapel is that we're a larger group that develops tenants. So in our 56 tenants, they either grow, shrink, or stay the same. The ones that grow need more property, need more buildings, need more of that. That's what this is about. What we built on the other side of the road is 100%. We have one new building sitting right here that's under roof right now that's also full. It was a spec building and it's now full. So again, our success record has been a graduated tenant. Build it and they will come. And that's why we bought this property. And this is an outcropping of a lot of other pieces and parts. But that side of the road is also where Imperial Land is. So that you understand it's on the other side of 576.
Any additional questions? Gentlemen, thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for helping us.
Our next two projects from Spears Borough, C31. Good. Morning.
How are you?
Good to see you.
This is a bit intimidating.
Oh, don't worry. Our first one is C31, the Spears Street Artisan Boulevard.
The bridge?
Yep, the bridge.
Okay.
Please take a moment to introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Lori Spina, and I'm from the Spears Council.
Good to see you, Larry.
Curtis Rice, I'm the Spears Council President.
Good to see you again. Please proceed. You have 3 minutes.
Okay. Upon our most recent inspection of our bridge on Artisan Boulevard, our bridge was found to be in poor condition. The bridge was built in 1977, and currently more than 2,000 cars pass over it, and it's a link to the industrial park. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the industrial park, but we have in there, we have a dialysis unit, we have 4th Street Barbecue, we have FBI, we have a methadone clinic, GE. So if that bridge were to be closed for any reason, posted, or any failure on part of the bridge, it would definitely shut down all of those businesses in addition to the safety issue for the community. Also, it covers the Wheeling and Lake Erie Railroad. It's on top of the Lake Erie Railroad. So
Also need rest for people.
Maple View only has one way in, one way out, and that is our only other way. If something would happen to Maple View entrance. We're hoping for an award of this grant to help ensure the safety of our residents and the retention of more than 250 people and jobs in the industrial park.
GE's also supposed to expand, and they're telling us they're going to hire upwards of another 100 people.
I'm assuming the borough owns the bridge.
We do.
You guys received an LSA award a year or so ago for this exact same
We
project.
did,
What was that award for? How much?
88,000.
Okay, is this in addition to?
This is an addition.
So is the 88,000 built into this 128,000? So you need roughly another 20. 40, I'm not gonna make the 40.
Yes.
Your actual ask is you're reapplying basically for the original amount plus 40,000.
Correct. The actual ask is 128,505.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, second project.
Second project
Spears
is,
radar signage,
yes, so
843.
Spears Borough is divided into two divisions. There's Spears and then there's Mapleview. And it's filled with primarily residential families and small children. And we have multiple families that have attended our council meetings complaining of the speeding throughout the neighborhood. One family in particular in Upper Spears has a child that is deaf, and she also has a child with severe autism. We've worked on getting step signs put up. We worked on we notified the police to try to get help. The family, they actually brought all of their children to one of our meetings to try to emphasize the importance of what's happening. I actually offered to volunteer to go door to door and knock on the doors and let people know that this is a real problem because one of her children is severely autistic and doesn't listen very well, and then the other one can't hear. So their safety is really in jeopardy. And then in Mapleview, we have the same thing on Grandview Boulevard. We have a child with severe autism, ADHD, and Grandview Way is a curve that comes up and cars literally fly. We've looked into, we have slow signs where this is our final attempt to try to make it safer.
What police presence?
We do have police presence, but our Charleroi police is Charleroi.
They're patrolling
everywhere.
Charleroi,
They're
Borough,
everywhere.
Spears Borough, and also North Charleroi.
So we're thinking if we have this sign, it too will record the speeds and it can be recorded also. Vixen.
So you can't do that.
We can't do what?
So municipal police can't use radar.
No.
Oh, no, the community is too small.
It's just gonna be, it would just be like, somebody's coming through, it's gonna say, hey, you're going too fast.
Slow down.
Or whatever.
Or deaf child.
You know, and then all we're gonna do is basically, if it's recording that, then we'd say to police, hey, you know what, watch out for this car coming through, it's been speeding through or whatever, that's the main thing on that.
We're looking for 4 signs and they could be moved from place to place. So if we put one that says deaf child here and somebody else has the same problem, we can move it to different locations, or if we know speeding is a problem here.
We ask this of all our applicants that have multiple projects before us. Which one's the most important to you?
Of course, the bridge.
The bridge, definitely.
Of course, the bridge.
Okay. Any other questions?
Just a clarification, the signs don't record the actual car that goes through. You're talking.
Just
it
the
would-
speed.
You
All
would
the doors
record
of, right,
speed,
speed.
which would give awareness.
To the police to say, we have a problem here with speeding.
Will it record time with that speed? So you can say it's a certain time of day we're having the high speed.
Yes.
One sign does those two?
4. It's 4 signs for $13,000. Well, we're asking for $13,000. The signs are $15,780.
You concerned, Jamie, about when you go through there?
Well,
I'll get catch you. All right, thank you. Any other questions?
Thanks,
All right,
guys.
thank you. Have a good day. You also. J3, Trinity High School Rehab, an athletic training facility and veterinarian technician, Trinity Area School District. Afternoon. Good morning. I'm sorry, morning. Good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure.
Please take a moment to settle in, introduce yourselves, and your 3 minutes starts.
Okay, I'm Don Snow, Assistant Superintendent for Trinity Area School District. With me, I have Dr. Savine, Director of Curriculum and Instruction, and High School Principal, Mr. Craig Europe.
Yes, sir.
It's a really pleasure to be on the board again. We come to you with a couple things. One is our students have really benefited, our community really benefited from the generous things we've seen in the past. The This year, we're looking at kind of expanding upon our programs for our students, also our community. We're looking at 2 items. First item is the mobile animage unit, which we already have one in the stationary in the building. Then also a digital sonogram machine. This will allow our students and community members to utilizing these technologies to get a better look at the thorough. So at that point, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Moore.
So our goal as educators is to prepare students for whatever path they take after they graduate from high school. I think that's in pretty much every school's mission statement, right? That's our job. And the only way that we can do this is if we teach them 2 main concepts by the time they leave us. Number 1, they have to know how to solve problems by thinking through challenges, weighing pros and cons of potential solutions, and then implementing a viable solution in full. That's one thing kids need. The other thing is they have to know how to utilize and interact with technology. As curriculum director, I feel like those are our 2 main priorities if I had to generalize. The only way we can teach these concepts and therefore prepare our students for real life is with the assistance of organizations like yours. With funding to purchase these tools, like the ones we've already obtained with your generosity, we can create those real life learning experiences that teach kids how to use technology to solve problems. The future of education is hands-on, authentic, and career-based. We're already teaching this way at Trinity, and with your help, we can continue to build that program. Dr. Smith?
Certainly. The students are being prepared for careers now and in the future, and in addition, with the anatomage table and the sonogram, we are wanting to put in a veterinary technician office where members of the community can bring their animals in for our kids and our instructors to do wellness checks, grooming, cut nails, things of that nature. Low maintenance on the animals, if you will. In addition to that, we want to expand the rehabilitation aid and the athletic training facility. Washington Hospital, Penn West, Waynesburg, WJ have all been in. They've seen the anatomage table. Washington Hospital, I believe, is going to add a few of those for part of their nursing instruction. This is a sequential next step in what we have done with careers, and we propose working directly with Southwest Corner Workforce Development Board and the Washington Green County Job Training and providing evening classes for adult members of the community. And as there's no longer a CCAC presence in Washington County, we'd like to extend our services beyond our students to the greater school community, providing academic and vocational opportunities for our community members.
Thank you. Questions?
These 2 guys as a model for several years. I teach my college, I do things at your high school.
Thank you. It's been great. And the other thing that I would extend to you too, that in the spring, as we get a few more things done and completed, since we're post-pandemic, we would have a presentation, invite everyone up, do sort of a kickoff, if you will. We've done some of that before. The pandemic kind of put the kibosh on a lot of that. So it's not wood, but I'm knocking on it. We're post-pandemic, and so we would like to open it back up to the community in the evening, as well as for you folks to come and see some of the greater good that you have helped us be able to.
Thank you. Thank you for good work. Any additional questions? A wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Our next 2 projects with the Southwestern Pennsylvania Water Authority. The first one is P24 10 Mile Creek Water Main Crossing. The second one we'll discuss is the Weaver Run Road. P24 first. Jens, how are you?
I'm Kevin Zackley from Banks and Engineers, and
Jim Faddis, Southwestern Water Authority Manager.
Good to see you, Jim. Please start.
so you said the first one was
P24, which is 10 mile.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So right now Southwestern provides water to Marietta Borough. It's fed through one single water main that was constructed about 50 years ago. It's approaching the end of its useful life. If something were to happen to that water line, Marietta might be out of water for a while. It crosses 10 Mile Creek, so it's quite an undertaking. I think we have about 200 customers in Marietta Borough. So we just like to get this line replaced before we have a catastrophe and they're out of water for a while. I mean, there's nothing, it's not like, tomorrow there's gonna be a problem, but we're just trying to be proactive with it, with the age of the line and again, with, the creek crossing. To get it over there. So total request on this one's, $266,350.
That being heard, next project.
All right.
Weaver Run Road. I'm gonna get that right.
So, this is a smaller portion of a larger project to feed the Lone Pine area out there in both Amwell and West Bethlehem townships. I believe it was last year, the year before, this board was kind enough to grant a grant for the design of the overall project. So this project that we presented now would be the first 2,900 feet of the project. I think overall we're talking over 40,000 feet of pipe to be put in to serve eventually 206 customers. This initial phase would just serve 12 customers, folks out in the area relying on wells and have both quantity and quality issues from time to time with the wells. So, this project, about 2,900 feet, total project cost at $428,500 and requesting $408,000 with a match of $20,500.
That'll be for 12 customers initially.
Initially, yes.
Any questions? Well, gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend. Richardville water storage tanks, Tri-County. Joint minority. Right? Keith, Rich, and Mary. Feeling it. No, I'm not.
Good morning. It'll be okay if I give the board a hand up?
Needs good things, right?
Gentlemen, please take a moment and introduce yourselves.
My name is Keith Marucci. I'm the operations manager of Tri-County Water.
And my name is Charles Mayer, in Tech Engineering.
Good to see you
I'm back again. I'm the engineer.
Please proceed.
We're looking to replace the Richardville water tank. The tank is approximately 70 years old. It's a little undersized for the area, both in fire protection and regular daily supply. We're hoping to enlarge the tank to be able to also service more of the Malden area, which is down by Solomon Ford and Dodge. Just so you know, we go from almost to 43 all the way up to Bellsville, so that tank services a lot. During this project, we noticed had some inquiries that another company is expanding in California Industrial Park, which is Perryman. We're also trying to figure out a way to make this tank 400,000. We could supplement that tank as well. It draws quite a bit of water. So we have two projects on which we're applying for here. This one doesn't dovetail into Perryman's expansion in California Industrial Park as well. So this tank, I have an engineer's report if you want to see it. It just says the tank is in very bad shape. I think you can see the tank is 70 years old. It shows every bit of that age plus, and I actually think it's a little older than that. We lost the documentation in one floods, so it's our best estimate of the age of the tank. We've worked with Pentec to come up with some proposals. We've already spoken to the Centerville Council about zoning. We're applying a zoning permit to move the tank and put it in a new location. It's more in the center of Richardville. It's a little better feed, a little better turnover, and we also purchased the ground, and we've had a geotech study, which looks to see if the ground is suitable for us installing a tank of that size. So we passed all those hurdles, and most of that, Centerville Borough, it helps with geotech study. We greatly appreciate that. They kicked in the dollars to cover that, and then we went and purchased the land from the fire company. So we are now trying to get our design done, so we can get a DEP permit application in, and looking for funding to get this tank built. It's a necessity. Again, it provides fire protection again from the Malden area all the way up to Bellsville.
Any questions?
How far away is this from the one?
Roughly 3/4 of a mile.
And then this is functional right now.
It is.
As you're aware, we have $25 million in requests, allocated roughly $8 million to recommend. Would a partial fund be of assistance?
The dollars that we've asked for on this are dollars that we feel we need in 100%. In the past, we had accepted partials for water line extension. We want to go 1,000 feet, we get enough to go 500. If we don't get enough for the tank, we're not sure where we can stop it. We don't want to downsize it and make it smaller. I'm not 100% sure. We also have a couple other loan requests in. We have not get those answers back yet. So, anything would be great. If we do not get enough, we are setting up to go to Penn West for the other tank. We'll try to roll this project in with that one as well.
All right, thank you.
Quick question. Our office was able to get 700,000.
Correct.
This number. Have you received it? Was that put towards the other tank? What's going on with that?
We have not received it until the application.
Okay.
And we're using that as part of the match.
I gotta go shake that tree.
And what we'd like to do is if there, again, costs vary on these tanks, and the longer we wait, the cost increase. So we have a number that we believe is correct. When the bids actually come in, we'll see. We wanted to have a little bit of wiggle room. Any extra from that fund you gave us will go towards the molded tank, which we have to build. It's almost an identical size tank, different structure, but identical size. And we're in just the beginning phases of trying to get that property purchased. Again, we went through purchasing property instead of condemning property. We're trying to find that we have better fit for the community and make this tank project better.
Any other questions? I will say, I know that authority had some challenges. You guys have done a nice job in turning that around. So congratulations.
And thank you for allowing us to do the help of the LSA board. We greatly appreciate that. Thank you for that.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks.
E2, Pool Valley, are they checked in? Okay. Do we have P1, the sewage treatment plant, and from New Eagle Municipal? Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Well.
Morning.
Good morning. Thank you for being with us.
I'm Kathy, and I'm the Secretary of the City Authority. This is Bill, our plant operator, and Patty's here for my moral support. Since this is my. So I'm just sitting here.
Gotcha.
We have no projects this year. So
What? Okay.
we got money last year.
Good.
And
Like to hear.
our chairman was supposed to be here. However, on his way here, he had an emergency. He had to go back to his job in downtown. So,
Everything's okay.
yeah.
This is
well,
P1 for the committee's preference.
Okay, so for our project, our population is only 2,400. Out of that, 864 are residential and approximately 2,400 people. And 864 residential is 229 for a total of 1,093 customers. And our income level is around 46,000. So we're here to present the projects for the sewer treatment plant and some improvements. And I know we have 2 projects going on. Bill will explain everything because he's our plant manager and he's been there for 30 years. So he's well versed on everything.
Morning. First off, let me get into a little bit of history of the plant. It was built in '97. Yes, we are continually to keep the improvements and everything going. When we built the plant back in '97, we were understanding that other communities were going to come in to help pay for this project, which they didn't. Unfortunately for us, now that was the sole burden on the taxpayers and the users in the borough of New Eagle itself. Now to fund this project, which the first project is to upgrade the PLC SCADA system and the control panels for the operation of this plant. They were put in '97. They're getting older. Yes, we can still get parts. They're so costly for them. Actually, back then, one card for the computer system would only cost $100. Today, we're probably up to around $18,000, but they have to be custom made. That's why we want to get this up into the 22nd century and get everything going. There's a lot of hardware and everything that's involved with this. All three of these, the upgrade for the sewage SBR panel, the main PLC, and the SCADA will all tie into one. So what that will do is everything talks to one another. So when you have like three people and three ideas, you talk and you get the good results. But that's what this will do. It will cut down on any excess of MPDS permit violation which it would have, because if there was a problem with the effluent going out or whatever, we would all stay in compliance with that. There's a lot of new updates need to be made. We have everything is set and ready to go for this. We've done our engineering, all our homework and everything, and it's just up to the funding. Hopefully you guys can supply us with. And like I said, it's up and running, it's ready to go. So if you would say today or tomorrow, hey, you guys got the money, the next day we'll be starting on it.
Thank you. Additional questions from the committee? None being heard. Thank you for your time today. Appreciate it.
We have the second one.
Oh, okay. Please get it one.
Okay, second part of the project is sewer line improvements for two areas in New Eagle. One which has a lot of I&I, and we also get a lot of overrun for this, putting undue burden onto the plants. Also, in these two areas, they're able to develop. We have some people that have wanted to come in and develop it, but with the condition in that of the sewers and everything, we need to update this, eliminate all the I&I, and give them a better possibility of coming into us and increasing our custom value amounts down there comes to us. It would also, lower our cost on operation of plant, and we would stay within all the parameters set forth by DEP on our NPDS permit.
Any additional questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Final project is E2 Pool Valley, Hidden Acres Holding Company. John, good to see you.
Good to see you guys. I have a couple of handouts. I don't know if I should.
Yeah, please do.
I did 10, and I didn't realize.
I'll get some extras.
And then you know what? I'll do this as quickly as possible.
John, take your time. Yeah, no, take your time. Thank you. Well, sure.
It's like Christmas, just coming. And then putting these together. And while I'm doing this, we are excited to say that Pool Valley has started to make significant progress. I will. Full understanding of the entire project and what we're asking. Oh, yeah, it's the last one's the money one. All right.
Yeah, John, unfortunately, you just spent your 3 minutes. Your time's up. Please reintroduce yourself, of course.
My name is John Haynes, and I am the director of Keenar Properties, which is the developer and owner of Cool Valley Development.
Good seeing you again. Please start.
Pleasure to be back. Cool Valley is a 611 acre multifaceted development that's right across the street from South Point. The first phase is going to be 260 acres. And we have come quite a long way since it started, I guess, a couple of years ago. And to give you just an update on where we stand right now, we are in the final phases of our MPDS permit. We hope to start to be clearing land this spring. And we hope and intend to start construction by the beginning of next year. So to give you an idea of what we're talking about on phase one, if you pull up this right here, this exhibit, you can see in the yellow, that is phase one. The yellow line outlining around Maple Ridge and Salton. And then in red, you can see the road improvements that we are going to be making. We have taken on the road improvements ourselves, and we will be paying for them ourselves, and we're just looking for assistance in any way that we can to help subsidize these improvements. The previous LSA grant that you awarded to us, if you look up, is going for the design of South Point Morgan. And so that design work that was funded by this committee is going to create, at South Point Morganza, it's going to create a 4-lane turning lane, and the fifth turning lane down onto Morganza is going to turn Morganza into a 4-lane road the whole way down. And then it will come down and head into Louis, which starts another road improvement project. The project that I'm here for today is the road improvements for McMurray. And that's at the bottom of the sheet here of the exhibit, where you can see we're going to be expanding those lanes. And as you know, at McMurray and Morganza, there's not much room there. So, because it's a bridge. So what we're going to be doing is digging into the hillside and putting a lane after we dig out that hillside. And that will give us an extra lane and turning lanes to help alleviate traffic from the development. The overall development, as you can see, will be here in this illustrative site plan. This is phase one. And phase one, as you can see, is going to be some sort of medical facility right on pad A, which is at the top corner in blue. Undetermined part of the development will be the green section there, and that's going to consist of commercial or light industrial. And then the brown or tan areas there are going to be an apartment complex, and then the long thin strip will be townhomes. So going back, that's just an overview of the project itself. I only have 3 minutes, so 5 minutes I'm going to go very quickly. The intersection that we're talking about with McMurray Morganza, I gave you a list of all the improvements that we're going to be making. And if you flip to the second page.
John, you're our last project, and this is a substantial one.
Okay,
So
I was
take
I was trying to
No,
squeeze it in.
No, please, take
I
an
don't want to
extra minute, take an extra minute.
I want to be respectful.
Again, it's a larger ask, there's a lot to it, take an extra minute.
So, on this handout here, we're going to see that this is all the improvements that we're going to be making listed out from South Point to Wiki Morganza, also McMurray. And the ask that we're talking about on the second page, you can see where it says Morganza, West McMurray. And so these are the items that we are going to be doing, and that the improvements are going to consist of. And what I also provided is Trans, who is our transportation consultant. I provided a listing of what it's going to cost to improve that intersection. So all said will be about $5.3 million. We have, as I said, we have committed to funding this entire project ourselves, but any assistance you can help and provide us would be great. And what that also means is that we're going to be able to do more on the project itself with less, having to spend less on road improvements. Now, these road improvements clearly are not just going to help the Pool Valley development. I lived at 1400 Main for a good while, and that McMurray Morganza light, the stop sign.
That's more correct.
So that stop sign is painful, and by putting in a light and some extra turning lanes or going each way will alleviate all of that. And as we're well aware, is that is what PennDOT calls a fatal intersection, given the amount of staffing that goes involved, and the amount of time it takes to So it's not good for this intersection specifically. This is not just for Pool Valley. It will be beneficial for South Point and for all the folks who are traveling, trying to get to, whether it be the Giant or wherever they're headed. I can go back. I nailed down my presentation to 5 minutes so that I could, I will set the time. But if there are any questions, I would love to answer them, or I could just go back and get into more detail about the project, or
Let's see if the committee has some questions.
the other side. So yeah, so you see all the green on the other side. That's me.
You have all your PennDOT approvals.
So for this intersection for McMurray, we're submitting our final HOP. Actually, just got off a call in the car. We're submitting our final HOP resubmission tomorrow. We finally got first time to figure out where they're going to put their goals.
Question?
I'm sorry. So the second phase is on the other side. This is the green. Oh.
So second phase. So this is for phase one. It'll be almost the exact same size.
Yeah.
Was there a restriction that you had to do the road improvement before you started the other?
So we're going to be doing them simultaneously. So what we did is that PennDOT allowed us, given that it's going to take a while to get the road improvements done, and we don't want to do all three at the same time because there would probably more a lot of people. So we're going to, PennDOT gave us permission to, and we're going to staff them. That's it for that. But we were, in essence, we did all three at the same time.
Additional questions?
I have a question. In the project name, it did say that these intersections were previously being failed and were to be improved. Mission South Point 2. Why wasn't the PennDOT not told somebody speak to the fire on the previous improvements?
Any other questions? John, I can tell you, good to see you. Thank you for being with us today. Hopefully it was painless.
I was trying
It's kind of the receiving end this time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
When I see you. That concludes our public briefings for the 2023 Washington County Local Share hearings. We certainly appreciate the entire committee's time, and thank you very much. We appreciate it, and have a good weekend.
I did all of mine, I want to say.